to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters Matchday Live. Bournemouth Newcastle today kicks off at 5:30. And the team news, as I'm sure most of you will have heard now: Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Willock, Joe Linton, Almiron, St. Maximin, and Isaac. On the bench: Dubravka, Dummett, Gordon, Ritchie, Lewis, Fraser, Murphy, Anderson, and young Lewis Miley. So the big news, Darren, starting with you, is no Callum Wilson, and the interview with Eddie Howe pre-match confirmed that it's a minor hamstring injury, which he only expects to keep him out of one game, hopefully, he said. So another injury to Callum Wilson. It's a big blow. We do have Isaac starting, which makes it a little bit easier. However, that bench is the only thing that really troubles me. Dubravka, Dummett, Gordon, Ritchie, Lewis, Fraser, Murphy, Anderson, and Lewis Miley being called in. Interesting that, Darren. What's your thoughts?
It's not a strong bench. I totally agree with Steve, but like me and George were saying before, it gives Isaac a good chance now to get 2 games to prove his worth to get in the final squad. Mm-hmm. Wilson's getting a lot injured. It's always a hamstring injury with him all the time. And so, I don't know. Wilson, he hasn't been playing good anyway. So, Isaac, go and prove your point now. Can get a performance, can get a go. So, but it's good. It's a good start. I know Anthony Gordon on the bench. That's one good thing. He can come on and change the game, and if we need it, yes, didn't deserve a start after the weekend, but you knew Eddie Howe would start him from scratch, wouldn't you? So no surprise there. But it's a team I expect the ball. Isaac being the team, might be fair. Same team. Yeah.
ESM playing again. It's another chance for him to prove his worth as well.
Yeah, totally. He needs the. This is his chance. Like me and George were saying before. This is his big chance now. If he wants it enough, he's got to want it now. Can prove a point. Can show he wants it. He wants to play in the final. Can defend and attack. Whatever Eddie Howe wants, go and do it.
Okay, George, good evening.
Hello, Steve. You all right?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. What's your thoughts?
Thank you. Well, before I go anywhere, you see how confident I am. I've got my strip on today, so apart from Wilson, it's what we're expected, I think, basically. And Darren's absolutely right. If ever there was a time for any player, not just San Maximum, they want to play in a cup final, they want to play at Wembley, they've now got the chance. And how Neil puts it best, I've got the shirt, take it off us. And that applies to San Maxim, Isaac, and anybody else that comes on today. If they really, really want to go for it, today's a good day to go for it. And next week. And then they can, other people can worry about if they're in the squad at Wembley. I'm not surprised that the young lad on the bench, Lewis Miley, because where I hear from the background is that he's been tearing up trees and training and etc. And it was a serious consideration to be starting today, I think. So not surprised to see him on the bench. Got to see Anthony Gordon at some time after last week. He freshened things up last week and could do it again today. But like you and Darren, after that, we don't have much to shout for, do we, on the bench? But there's people on the bench who wouldn't let we down, is the only way I'd put it. For example, Matt Ritchie's against his old club, but you could put Matt Ritchie on in any position in that team and you'd get 100%. He wouldn't let you down. He'd give you 100%. So, there's positives and negatives, but the main thing is those that are on today, if they're going to make anything of Newcastle United, today's the start of it. Get the shirt and try and get the shirt for Wembley. And they've now got that chance. Looking forward to seeing Isak, because again, when I saw him the last time when he played against Southampton and he came on, his pace was electric. The way he set up that second goal, for example, he left the defender for dead. He gave him 3 yards start and still passed him. So I'm looking forward to all of that. That's good. But I'm hoping that Eddie Howe's playing at Canny with Wilson and he's wrapping him in cotton wool, and that it is a slight injury. Because if it's not, then there's not just serious questions about the cup final for me. There's serious questions about Callum Wilson per se. If his hamstrings are so tender that he can't get more than half a dozen games on the trot without something happening, then that's not good. Not good for us, not good for the team. So it does beg some serious questions.
Yeah. Lord Vader, good evening. How was your
Hi, Vince.
How was your first appearance in the Darth Vader costume this afternoon? That's the first time you've been in it since the Great North Run.
Yeah, it went all right. The Bens loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You weren't traumatized putting it back on.
A little bit. As soon as I put it on, I was sweating.
All right, mate. The starting lineup: Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Willock, Joelinton, Almiron, ASM, and Isak. No place for Wilson today. Slight hamstring, Vince. And on the bench, Dubravka, Dummett, Gordon, Ritchie, Lewis, Fraser, Murphy, Anderson, and Lewis Miley. So I think the point we made today was, slightly weaker bench because no Bruno, of course, no Wilson. Isak now obviously in the starting lineup. Lewis Miley called in, although, he seems to have been pressed in training. And ASM given another chance, and Isak now given a chance to shine as well. So what's your thoughts on the team?
Yeah, no, it's like it is what it is. If like Wilson's injured, he's injured. Like says Isaac comes in, like says Isaac's just really impressed. Like says for me, like says I think he's got the touch. He's confident to go like carry with the ball and all that. Like says got a good touch. I really like Isaac. Like says in Maxi, like says I was reading a stat that in the last game he won 3 out of 3 tackles, which was the highest tackles.
Yeah,
so even though he didn't advance, he was doing that.
That's true.
But whether he can, I think it's whether he can put the two together, because he's doing that and then it's getting forward. Is that taking it away from him wanting to just go for it? Is that hindering him? I don't know. I think he's trying to work. He's trying to, but we don't know. But I think he's got to have his shot. The things that he's done for us, like under Bruce and stuff like that, he was like great in that. Like it's just we've got to give him his chance, but we'll see. But I'm glad like Gordon on the bench again. Brilliant. He was very bright when he came on last time. His passing was sharp, just like to the point like where I think like it looked a bit lackluster. Like he came on, it was just like he brightened it up a bit. It just everyone started going a bit quicker on that, and so it's good end. So I think it is what it is. That's what we've got, and and like the young lad, if that's what he's doing in training, that's how you get it, isn't it? Like if you show it in training, that's the point of it, isn't it? Like you should get your shot.
Yeah. Definitely agree with you there. Are you a bit concerned about Callum Wilson? This is another injury layoff. I mean, Eddie Howe saying in his pre-match interview, Vince, that he's hoping it'll only be for a week, but it didn't sound hopeful. And by all accounts, he didn't travel today.
Yeah, like it's just, what he's such a good player. Like when he plays, he's finishing his top draw. Like he's got great feet. It's just class, and it's just he just doesn't have any luck, the lad. Like his just a little twinge and that. Like his if it's his hamstring, you've got to be careful. Mightn't be nothing, but like sometimes you've just got to be careful and just say, right, okay, do nothing. Just like ease it off and that. It might be nothing, it might just take a week. And it might be back, it might be just a worry over nothing. But like says, we don't know. Eddie Howe knows if he's showing like says like you've seen it, like says if you think he's a bit stressed about it, then maybe, but like says, I love Wilson. Like says, I want him to do well. I want him to be the goal scorer. He's with number 9. That's what I want to see. I want him to see him there. And like you say, his touch, his finishing sharp as out. And I want to see him there. And I'm just hoping that it isn't. Is it not serious if one out? But if it's another continuation, then I don't know. But like, I just want to see him there, just because he's a great number 9.
Teams are in the tunnel and getting ready to walk onto the pitch. And this will be Eddie Howe's first competitive game in charge of a team at Bournemouth since he left. And he was asked about that at the start of the interview, and he just said, it is a bit different, for him going down there and being in the opposition dressing room, but there's a lot of familiar things, a lot of familiarity, and he made a big point really about the crowd, that the one strength that Bournemouth have is the support. It's like a 12th man, the size of the stadium. It's quite intense, and that was a big thing that. For him, he felt that, Bournemouth were lacking during COVID. I mean, obviously no crowds at all in COVID, but he felt that it affected his team a lot more because of the close proximity for the crowd to the pitch. And Andy Howe walking out of the tunnel now, and I'm sure he'll get a good reaction from both sets of supporters. But after that initial reaction, I'm sure the Bournemouth fans will be giving him a bit of stick, one would imagine. But just a reminder of the team: Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Willock, Joe Linton, Almiron, ASM and Isaac are starting. A few banners in the crowd from Bournemouth fans. Welcome back, Eddie. It's a nice little touch. That's a nice touch. But he'll be concentrating on the game in hand. And Darren, before we kick off, just as the teams line up and Sky go through all their preamble, good to see Kieran Dyer and Graham Souness back on the TV again.
Funny enough, Steve, I was just about to mention that. They only do them on Sky. They don't do it in the ground, do they? It's the most two miserable people to have on Sky who call people worse inside. It's
Kieran Dyer at one point, just as I was getting ready to come on the show, was asked about, both teams. He quickly changed it to Bournemouth as we. And I just thought, wow, that's a proper Freudian slip, that. You clearly don't want Newcastle to win. He's clearly there wanting Bournemouth to do Newcastle no favours whatsoever. And it just annoyed us. But yeah, Vince, it just makes you laugh, doesn't it? I guess it sends more people to watch us, Vince, I guess, because people who want to hear our view rather than two people who can't stand Newcastle.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that's it. That's it. Like the one you hear why they're saying them things about ex-players, so it'd be interested. Yeah, it gets you looking, but my God, man, it's just you're so sad. And it just really is like get over yourselves. You know what I mean? Like it's just you've had your spot. Like Souness was manager, he was a player. They had they were paid money. They played well. Got paid for a job. Like they did their job. One not as much as well as the other one. But says Kieran Dyer drove a Ferrari into one of the bridges. So they've got he's had his ups and downs, Kieran Dyer. But Alex is why? Well, it's just they're obviously just want to keep on. I think it's part of the Sky contracts. It must be in there. One of the paragraphs must slate Newcastle. All right, okay, I'll agree to that. It must be in there. Terms and conditions.
Kieran Trippier is going in with Neto, just doing the toss.
We've got to be careful today, Steve. Joe Linton doesn't get booked because 2 yellow cards came out of the FA Cup.
The League Cup, yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah, that's the big thing. He is on 2 bookings. So yeah, I think if he gets booked today, we know for certain he will not be playing next week. But yeah, it is one to watch. Let's hope he doesn't have a rush of blood. Certainly looks very happy and very focused. The camera's focused on him with the name and says most duels won this season, Joe Linton. So he has added that physical side to his game. But yes, George, great to see Souness and Dyer back in tandem.
Absolutely delighted. I will be. I mean, the most annoying thing about it for me is in both those people, both could have been absolute heroes on Tyneside.
Totally right.
Absolute heroes. Souness came with a fantastic reputation elsewhere. He just didn't bring it. He just lost it when he came here. I don't think he could stand the 24/7 nature of the job like Eddie Howe is doing. And Dyer, well, for the seasons we carried Dyer with his shin splints injuries, he should be thanking us from the bloody rooftops, because at least 2 of our managers saved his career. A lot of managers would have packed him off with those shin splints
Off the
injuries.
field trouble he caused.
Absolutely. And well, add that to the fact that he ended up fighting with somebody on the pitch, and then the hole in the high-level bridge wasn't big enough for his Ferrari, so he drove it into the bloody gate post. I mean, and had to be got out of Market Street police station by soonest, No, it really... The other thing is that I've got a sneaking fancy, of course, that the other thing certainly about him, Souness as well, is the feel that they've got to say something controversial to justify them being there. And that means that we all know whatever we do isn't going to get praised off them. It's going to be either lucky or it's a bad play or something like that. It'll certainly not be good play by Newcastle. So it's disappointing, but we know what to expect. As I say, the disappointing thing for me is both those blokes could have been heroes on Tyneside, and they chose the dark side. So goodbye,
Yeah, well said, George.
Forget about them.
Yeah, well said. The game's kicked off for 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes in, and Newcastle in the offensive straight away. The ball's being pushed forward to Isaac. Bournemouth clearing the lines. Eddie Howe's already been scurrilously writing a few notes into a notebook. But I think the best thing for me about this team at the moment is we're set up with the same back four and the same goalkeeper. Solanke back in for Bournemouth. Of course, that was their top scorer last season, so he'll be hoping to get off to a decent start today. Newcastle at the start, certainly pushing forward. Results today, Darren, certainly went in our favour, didn't they? I mean, Spurs went 1-0 up, and I couldn't, that was me groaning, thinking, well, that's great. Spurs are gonna get it, claw a little bit back on us. I know we've got 2 games in hand now, but they ended up coming a cropper at Leicester, losing 4-1. And then Arsenal, of course, who've been leading the way since the start of the season, took the time to go 1-0 up. But then were clawed back by Ivan Toney doing us a favour, and they finished 1-1. So the 2 games affecting us at the top of the table, both went our way. So puts even more emphasis on Newcastle winning today, doesn't it, Darren?
Yeah, like I say, Tottenham, it doesn't look right. Conte being at Tottenham, if someone's not right, it just doesn't. Him being he's not saying Newcastle, I think they'll be away anyway, but with them getting beat today, it just puts us, if we win the day, that's 3 points. Like I say, we're all merit, keep winning. If we get the top 4, we get top 4. But then Arsenal, if they want to win the league, they need to win like games like today, don't they? To get the win titles, they've got to win home games. But it helps Man City over the day.
Newcastle win today. They go to 44 points. Now that puts them essentially 5 points clear of Spurs with a game in hand. That's massive at this stage of the season. And of course, it puts us then 7 points behind Arsenal, but we will have played a game more. So we've clawed back on Arsenal. I mean, only the most optimistic Newcastle fan will feel that we've got a chance of winning the league, but never say never, of course. But it does give you that bit of a buzz knowing that you're only that 7 points behind them. We've clawed something back on Arsenal for the last 2 weeks if we can get 3 points today. So, Vince, it's exciting, isn't it? It's great. It's great to see us, competing in that way. Brighton, I think they drew today. Fulham drew today. Yeah. So they're both on 35
Fulham won, didn't it?
Oh, Fulham won. Fulham won 2-0, yeah. So they were, so Brighton and Fulham are both on 35 points. Brentford's on 34. They obviously drew with Arsenal. Chelsea drew with West Ham. That's them down in 9th now on 31. So, I mean, incredibly, we're 10 points clear of Chelsea. Level on.
Did you see the VAR situation, Steve?
No, I didn't see it, mate. I heard about it, but
what a howler! VAR's been a massive howler there, mind you.
Well, all I heard today was Soccer Saturday, and I just heard them going on and on and on about how long it was taking for some of the decisions, So yeah, it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
a blatant penalty for Conor Gallagher's shot. The defender basically hit the bar with his hand. It wasn't like a ball reflection. The defender knew what he was doing. So VAR's been a massive howler there.
Right. Okay. But yeah, Vince, I mean, it's a good opportunity for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. There is no way when the season began we could have thought we were here to be battling in the top 4 in a final, a cup final. I mean, it's amazing. But there's still some fans whinging. I just don't understand. This is beyond anything. We were all happy, to see, the team fighting and battling and that and doing all right. And we were saying, yeah, top 10, maybe have a cup run. But this is just unbelievable. This is beyond my wildest dreams. To be battling relegation and then years later to be in this position is unbelievable. And it's this is all I was ever happy about and wanted was just to be in a game and challenging in a game, going to a game and thinking, yeah, do you know what? We can win this. Bit of hope, and we've got it. We've got it under the hell and all that, and it's a great time to be a fan. And there's only one way we were going, and it's up.
Yeah, we're just watching as Willock was taken out of play, walking a bit gingerly now, but the referee didn't give it as a free kick. Thought it was a fair challenge and gave a throw into Bournemouth. 6.5 minutes in. Kieran Trippier going down the right hand side will stay with us for now. He passes the ball inside to Almiron, back to Trippier, and Bournemouth certainly putting the foot in, shall we say, in these early exchanges as Lewis Miley does his first warm up. But yeah, George, great results today for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to say that it almost feels that the stars are aligning each time.
Yeah.
Each time we play games.
Well,
results go our way.
I've got to admit I got caught out because I was looking at the Spurs result. When I seen the gun 1-up, I thought, oh hell, let's forget that. That's dead and buried. And I flicked around challenge to see if there was anything I could see because my eyes are so bad at the minute. In fact, my right eye's now totally blind. I'm absolutely useless now.
Yeah.
And so I was flicking around to see if I could see anything, and I come across an old John Wayne film called The War Wagon. I couldn't even stand that. And by the time I went back, Spurs were 2-1 down. I couldn't believe it. And then the other results, well, great. Actually, Arsenal got 1-1, but at the end of the day, they were hanging on. I thought they were hanging on at the end. So yeah, I mean, if we can win today, what a good Saturday it would be. It would be brilliant Saturday, and it would be a good pointer for the rest of the season as well.
No, it definitely would be. 8 minutes gone, still 0-0, and as I say, Newcastle doing more of the attacking, Bournemouth doing more of the defending. Quite a tight start, and I didn't get your predictions before the game. I've been predicting a draw in this game, a 1-1 draw all week, and obviously it's always difficult until you know what the squad or what the team is going to be. I still feel like it's going to be. I still feel like it's going to be a draw. What did you go for, Darren? Almiron's just been wiped out, by the way. They're another dirty challenge by the Bournemouth player. It's a free kick to Newcastle, but they're certainly going in over the top.
Yeah,
that seems to be seems to be the plan. Let's try and injure as many Newcastle players as possible. Hope that doesn't affect Newcastle's play, because a lot of the guys will be thinking about the final. Almiron's back up. He's jogging gingerly, but he's back up. Go on, Darren. Now,
I was kind of with you, Steve. A draw, but we've drew 10 games this season, so we need to start turning draws into more wins if possible. But this is one of them games. If we could play awful and get beat 1-0, which because it is a possible upset. How it's returned, but how the game started, Bournemouth haven't really done much, to be fair, how it started. But we're doing all right up to now. I'll go for a 1-1 or a 1-0 Newcastle win.
Okay, what about you? What's your thoughts, Vince?
I went for 2-0. Like I was talking to someone. I think like this we'll just like this click. I know we've been getting draws and stuff like that, but the main thing is like says again, like it's bothering some fans. It's not really bothering me because we're still haven't been beat.
Botman's going to score, yeah, you know. Botman's due a goal.
We're not like we're not losing. We're not losing. We're like, and it's great to have the feeling going right. Oh well, we should have won that. Like not going like, oh, we should have lost it. But you're going on about like the tackles flying in. To me, when Southampton, West Ham, and then this, they were flying in, and the referee seems very every game reluctant to yellow card the players. And then we put a tackle in, and we're the first one to get a yellow card. It's seeming a bit right, a bit suspicious. But that's just a judgment. But yeah, no, I think I think like again the tackle's flying in, but I think we've got the quality to do these, and especially seeing like Isaac on. But it's we need to get the ball a bit down to the left, get it to St. Maxi, see what he can do, because it's just constantly down the right at the moment.
George, what was your prediction?
Well, I think since Wednesday I've been predicting 3-0. I just have a feeling that they're there for the taking, and we have the quality to take them. And what you would be looking front of goal, we've been making the chances, we just haven't been popping them in. And I'd like to see Isaac and others get their foot behind the ball and stick it at the bottom of the net. I have a feeling that Anthony Gordon comes on, he could contribute as well. So I'm sticking with me 3-0. And if Bournemouth's way of doing things is to kick me out of the game, I think they're going to find themselves on the wrong side of a shellacking, because there's one thing our lot can do: they stick together, and they'll come back. They won't let Bournemouth intimidate one of their mates. They'll go back on it and protect the lads. So I'm still sticking with me 3-0. I still think that's what will end up.
Oh no.
Newcastle still under pressure at their end now. Almiron, a little back pass. It's danger man Solanke's in there, but Newcastle defending in numbers and managing to push the ball back out. Bournemouth regain it again, though. They've got Newcastle penned in here. Ball into the box. Yeah. Great save by Nick Pope down at his at his far post, actually. Managed to palm it round, and it was Solanke, the danger man who I mentioned earlier. It was a wonderful crossfield ball. It was flicked on by Solanke and nearly caught Pope sleeping, but he got across well to his far side, patted the ball down and beat it behind for a corner. So, yeah, just a little warning there, Darren, that Solanke is a man to watch.
Yeah, just tell you any sloppy play, Steve, they're going to punish us, aren't they?
Yeah.
But that come from a missed pass by Almiron, didn't it? I think. Or
yeah, it was Almiron. Yeah.
Yeah, so as Gay said, one sloppy pass like that, and they're on the attack that he scored. So we need to pack that in, because it could cost us. You know what I mean? Just we need messing up, but just play sensible.
Yeah, Newcastle United 0, Bournemouth 0. Bournemouth's corner was cleared, but Newcastle United pressing Bournemouth back into their own half, making them pass it back to the goalkeeper. Only 1,300 Newcastle fans down there. Obviously, it's a smaller capacity, but the Newcastle fans have made the journey down, and as always, are making themselves heard. Joe Linton in the middle wins the ball again. He's pushed on to Willock. Willock plays it wide, and it's come to ASM, who just too casual there, gives the ball away, and Bournemouth nip in, win it back, and Bournemouth's midfield start pushing up in numbers. Newcastle defending in numbers. And lucky ricochet there nearly falls into the feet of the Bournemouth forward, but ball safely travels back to Nick Pope. It was Odango who won the ball there for Bournemouth. So 14 minutes played, 0-0. It is tight. It is touchy. It is tight. Obviously, the final tickets have been on sale. We've been speaking about it all week. Darren, you got yours, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got mine. I got mine on Wednesday, so I'm happy. Like I said, I was in tier 3, as you know, Steve, but I think I've paid 50 quid for mine. I'm not bothered as long as I'm in the ground.
Yeah, that's good, mate. That's good. And George, unfortunately for you, I know we discussed this the other day. I mean, you got your ticket, which was great, but you unfortunately, you're having so much trouble with your eyes. I think, you're relinquishing your ticket. I think Neil's go. Is it Neil or Steve or somebody going?
Steve Hastie's going, which I'm pleased about because I go to all the matches with Steve. Yeah, I mean, some people say, well, you could still go. I couldn't because I can't see properly myself. But worse than that, if I go and I need to be helped, that spoils it for somebody else. So, I mean, Steve and Neil would feel obliged to make sure I was all right. I want them to enjoy the experience, not be dragging back because somebody's a bit slow. So that's another reason why, I'm glad that it's turned out that way. I've got an appointment for my eyes on the 21st of February, but there's no way they're going to be able to do anything for us to go away on the 26th. It just won't happen. So I'm resigned to the lads having a good time and enjoying their enjoyment and having a good time. So, yeah, I mean, and as was talked about the other night, my concern is that the absolute shambles this ticket allocation thing has been. So, it's been shambles is a polite word. So, yeah, I'll miss it, but I've got a sneaking fancy there's going to be plenty more. I just have the feeling that there's going to be lots more happy days for Newcastle fans. Just have that feeling.
Vince, you obviously didn't, fall into any category, but you're going to be watching the match in Newcastle. Even finding somewhere to watch the match in Newcastle is difficult, Vince.
Yeah, like I said, talking to my mates. Got a mate who lives down in Liverpool, and he's coming back home to watch it. And his brother as well, and that. And yeah, it's just trying to get somewhere now. They're all booking out fast and all that, so we're trying to decide where we're going to go and that. But yeah, it is all coming up. Yeah, but we'll find somewhere. It'll be a great atmosphere in the town as well, like says.
Yeah.
So it'll be all right because like says there's no way like says what is that? Was it 7? That goes out in phase 7. I've got more chance of going on a date with Scarlett Johansson than getting a ticket. But there's no way. So but like it'll still be a great atmosphere being up here. Like so yeah, like I think we'll get somewhere sorted in that. So just can't wait for it really.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too late for the club to open the ground, and do something in the ground.
Well, I put the suggestion out there on my Twitter feed, and of course, as I would often do if I if I think of things, and of course some people will just choose to troll you when you come up with an idea like that, and there was a few other valid points. Well, what about the bars? The bars can benefit from it. Why do the club, etc. But yeah, I'm not sure whether the club are looking at it or not.
Don't you think an occasion like this? I mean, let's face it, we got a taste in 1974. There was still over 500,000 greeted the team back as losers, never mind bloody winners. So this is a big occasion that we've not had for years. I think there's enough capacity of people wanting to watch this game and take their families to watch this game if necessary. That the club could do it as well as the bars doing it. It would be a great fillip for the city, not on one side or the other. They could do it. Could be a win-win for both the city and for Newcastle United. I just perhaps I'm too optimistic. I don't know, but I believe that there would be enough interest in this game for families and friends to go into the ground and watch the big screen. And still all those that want to go into a bar and have a drink, plenty for the bars as well. I just am more optimistic about it than some people are.
I think I would give free entry, and then they're gonna make say, well, they've got bars and beers inside, couldn't it? You know what I mean? So something like that, I think it's a great call, mate. Remember the days you used to go to the old Odeon, didn't you, and watch Newcastle in the Odeon and thing, but.
I appreciate there's going to be licensing issues for those kind of places, but not the football ground. I mean, they're allowed to televise. They're allowed to televise things at the football ground, and I mean, if there is a fee, then the club could, they certainly could charge an entrance fee if they wanted, and just to cover that. But yeah, I do think there should be some scope at that. So hopefully the club will look at it. I mean, when Newcastle are through, Isaac's through on the right-hand side, sliding defender, tackle coming in. Isaac smiles, knowing that he just couldn't get that ball under control. But it was a wonderful ball from Fabian Shaw, I think, from the back. Might have been Trippier. I couldn't see from this angle. But it was like a chipped golf shot straight over the top of the midfield. Isak took it under control on his left foot. But the defender just would not give in. And Isak smiles.
Looked offside, Steve.
Yeah, it looked slightly off, but it's not being given. Kieran Trippier's got his hand in the air, takes the corner, whips it in. Late run from Dan Burn, but was nowhere near it. We'll win the ball back through Almiron. Trippier puts the ball into the back post, and it's headed behind for a corner by the Bournemouth number 3. And he high-fives the goalkeeper as Trippier jogs across the 6-yard box and across to the other flank to take the corner, as we see Anthony Gordon flying through the air, doing a few jumps and warming up at the corner flag. It is a tight ground, Bournemouth. It really is. Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Dan Burn breathing heavily, smiling, looking at Kieran Trippier getting ready. Puts his other hand in the air, plays a short one to ASM. ASM back to Trippier. Trippier dinks the ball in this time to the back post. Again, cleared by the Bournemouth.
Man.
Only as far as Botman.
Longstaff,
who shanks the ball out of play roughly on the halfway line. 21 minutes on the clock, 0-0. Jason Tindall and Eddie Howe have a conversation, and probably quite happy at the fact that we're not a goal down, because Solanke has, certainly had an opportunity. The cameras focus on Gordon, who was up and down that wing. Certainly looking forward to getting involved. You won't like to sit on the bench, somebody who's used to playing competitively in the Premier League. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Gordon. I've got to be honest, Darren. I think unless there's an injury, I think we'll probably won't see him until the hour mark. But when we see him, I'm sure that he'll give us that flair that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, he looked good when he come on, didn't he, Steve? His first 3 touches were like, he done nothing wrong, did he? You told when he come on the pitch, did he?
Yeah.
His passing, his movement was good. He just needs his chance, doesn't he? Again, the team, and once you get your chance, you've got to take it, which we need competition in the team. So, again, the only player he probably saw would be ESM. Is the obvious one who he likes to take off later on in the game. But I like Gordon. How he played against West Ham, we come on. He looked hot. He's got talent, and I think he'll come good. My personal opinion.
Yeah, you're nodding your head there, Vince. I mean, it was an impressive debut. 15 minutes on the pitch, 15 touches of the ball. He's our kind of player, and I know there was a lot of people, basically not happy with it and didn't want to sign him on, etc. But look, let's face it, he's the kind of player that you love to hate when he's playing against you, but when he's your player, you just can't wait to see him in black and white, can you?
Yeah, no. I mean, when I was watching the little video they did of him coming to the club, and he sat down with Howe and that, and Howe straight away saying, Alex says, I've loved the way you play, you're my kind of player and stuff like that. And he is. He's like says, he grafts, he gets about. But yeah, definitely would come on. He just sharp, just like that, and that through ball for Wilson, where he just couldn't get it. That was class. That just straight on, then but he's just sharp to the point. What you can see, he wants to get there, wants to get forward. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting times. And under Howe, you've seen what he's done with the other players, what he can do with this young lad. That's it. People are saying, oh yeah, he's 21, he's a young lad. Yes, they might have had problems with him, but now he's our player. Let him be grieving the players and all that. It's what we want. I think he'll do well. Yeah.
Come on. Good delivery. Come on, Trippier.
Corner to Newcastle. Kieran Trippier again. Let's do something different, Newcastle. Let's not just do the same old. Let's have a late run from a defender. We don't have any imagination on these corners, and I think we're all agreed on that. We need to do something. It's that old standing like tins of milk. There's Joe Linton, there's Dan Burns standing too close together for me. Get them involved. And the ball just comes in, it goes to the defender, it gets headed back out again. No imagination on those corners. Definitely need to work on it. Flag's gone up. Kieran Trippier looking a bit confused. Is it offside? Kieran Trippier's got the ball again. Is it a free kick?
I don't think the ball went out of play. You only call it. I don't think went out to play.
All right, okay. So,
I think so. I think it's just said there.
Complete confusion there, as usual. The liner put the flag pointing it down towards the ground. It looks as if it's a free kick to Bournemouth. We're seeing it here now.
Out of play.
Yeah, it was miles out of play. So the referee lineman saying it wasn't out of play, but it was out of play. But never mind. Kieran Trippier didn't get involved, didn't argue. It's a free kick to Bournemouth.
Well,
25 minutes.
Why isn't VAR correcting that?
Yeah, it probably hasn't come into it. Anyway, Almiron's booted the ball forward. Again, Bournemouth defending in numbers. They're defending well. Percentage-wise, possession, Bournemouth 35%, Newcastle 65%. So certainly had more of the ball. But the scoreline 0-0. It is a tight game. Not many shots on target here. Bournemouth pressing down the right-hand side.
Yes.
Rather ambitious shot there, but it was charged down by Dan Burn and falls to the Bournemouth forward again. Willock, doing some defending there. And,
ESM lost Barlow again, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And Dan Burn plays the ball off the Bournemouth attacker, and it goes out for a goal kick. So 26 minutes played, 0-0. Yeah, Anthony Gordon. We spoke about him, George, you and I, but be good to see him get on the pitch today, won't it? I think that's
absolutely.
We might not have a lot of experience on the bench, but he's an exciting.
I would like to see him. I would like to see him get at least a full half, because that 15 minutes was electric. In the stats you mentioned, he had more touches in 15 minutes than some of them had in 90. 15 touches. It's just incredible, and it was all positive. I have this thing with Sean Longstaff, is Howe says that Sean Longstaff's immediate thought when he gets the ball is to play it forward, and Gordon's the same. He was looking to go forward every time he got the ball, and as Darren just said, the through ball to Wilson, and another day Wilson would have put that in the back of the net. It just happened to be that was that big Moroccan defender who's had a brilliant World Cup, just got his tackle in at the right time. Otherwise, that would have been nestling in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think Wilson lost his pace, though. Honestly, he's not what he used to be, Wilson, on his pace.
Well, I think the fact that it's hamstring again, I think he's been carrying that injury because he certainly hasn't been playing as well as we know he can. No. And I think it's an ongoing injury, which he's been carrying for weeks. And I think it's flared up again. And I think that's a major problem, Darren, let's talk about this. William Headley as Bournemouth push forward, hit a shot miles wide there. Nothing to worry about. It was Anthony who passed it to somebody in the crowd. 0-0, still 28 minutes played on the clock. But yeah, William Headley in the chat says, we look so displaced in our midfield. Surely to God, Eddie and his backroom staff noticed when Bruno was missing. We needed cover. It's an absolute tick missed, that's for sure. Doing a talking, which Vince was at last night with Peter Beardsley in Newcastle. And it was one of the questions that somebody raised in the crowd about that, somebody said we should have got a midfielder in. Was that a major mistake by the club not bringing in a midfielder? I mean, a game, and we've seen a full game, and now we've seen another half an hour without Bruno. Since the suspension. What's your thoughts on what Williams got to say, Darren?
I've got two opinions. I think Eddie Howe wanted to go on, not badly, but I think he wanted him in his squad as soon as possible because partially he's building the team as the transfer window by transfer window. Bruno was an unplanned red card, everybody knows that, and Shelby wanted to go because he wanted a 2-year contract. I think they've just been unlucky by Shelby wanted to go and Bruno got the red card. I just say it does meet our squad. Oh, fuck's sake.
1-0 to Bournemouth.
No.
Corner. Lovely corner in. It was a back stick goal. And I'm not being funny. That I wouldn't say it's been coming, but it's just the frailties of the back stick for Newcastle. This is a big test for Newcastle. We knew it would be. Bournemouth struggling for their lives at the wrong end of the table. And the corner was whipped in, and it was just a late arrival at the back post. If this was Trippier again, it'll be disappointing. Just watching the goal back here, corner taken.
Marked, isn't he?
It was just a lovely ball in. It was a flick on again. We got a lesson earlier on there. It was a
Who's
flick on.
him?
Yeah, it was
Isak, isn't he? Isak's meant to be marking him. He's left them.
It was a flick on at the front post. The kid was left, and the guy arrived at the back post. It's number. Trying to get the number. Can't see who it is. I'm not really familiar with the Bournemouth players. I've got to be perfectly honest. But, it's coming up now. Marcus Senesi. It's his first goal for Bournemouth. Yeah, on the half-hour mark. Newcastle 1-0 down. Gary O'Neill walking up and down, looking very, very happy. And Tyndall and Howe looking a bit concerned. But yeah, it's that's a blow, Darren.
Yeah, it's a big blow, Steve. We need to roll our socks up because we need to put our jazz up. Like I say, that goal, they have shown signs on the ball by scoring goals. Like, sloppiness is going to cost us this game. I haven't done, I don't know, just daft mistakes at the back of the minute. We need to wake up a bit, Stephen, and get on. Get on. We need to wake up and get a move on, really.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. You have a Newcastle. Trippier plays the ball in, but plays it too close to the goalkeeper, and he takes it very easily. And Newcastle 1-0 down at Bournemouth. Big blow, that, Vince.
Like, I'm just watching it again. I cannot work out why Wilson is on that player. Like, there was such a space at the back post. Like it says, you flick on, and it was easy.
It was
like putting it in the distance. There was such a space there.
Isak was watching. He was meant to be marking. He left them.
Yeah, disappointing.
It's just like, but you do when you're but that's what you do when you're forward, marking. You're the main player. But it was the space. The space was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just like, I think Bournemouth are basically like, they're defending well and they just seem up for it a bit more. I think we just, like it says, I don't know if we're becoming a bit complacent to think, oh yeah, we're like chopping out these all down there and all that. Like, they need to I think they do need to wake up and just give it a go. Because if it is, it's just, we've had possession of that.
Look at them. There, switches off.
We're just getting a review of the game there. I've got to be honest, it looked like ASM supposed to be marking the guy on the front post.
It was Debbie Isak, mate. Debbie 14, Isak.
I'm just watching it back from a different angle though. Okay, so number 10 is ASM.
Yeah.
And it's number 10 who lets where does he come from? Okay, so I'm actually taking the time to rewind it here. So where does he start? Right, okay, so we're back to there. Bear with us, folks. Dan Burn. It's Dan Burn, number 33, who doesn't go with a player.
Yeah, but if you put that after Dan Burn, like for the first flick on, Isak.
It's the first flick on which leads to the goal, though.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Burn should be marking that player. Isak is at the back post. So you're right, Darren. Isak should be marking that player, but it's Dan Burn who. He was a stat.
We just stood. He was ball watching. He didn't watch the player.
Yeah, So there's two players at fault there. Both switched off essentially.
But like this, obviously, like this, because that's it. Would overloaded the front post, and the Bournemouth cleverly have done that to make we do that. Because it says the space that behind. That's all I had to do was get the flick on, and it works.
Barry, I've just seen your request there, mate. Yeah, I'll send you the link. Bear with us. Yeah, go on, Vince. Whatever you were going to say there, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, this is just like you were talking about corners before. Like, we have ideas, but that seemed to be like a plan, and it worked. They seem to be a bit more of an idea. Like, we're just. I think Howe needs to get these in second half and boost them up a bit, because I think they're just. Because Bournemouth are doing all right, but they're not great. It's. I just don't think that the players have woke up. It's weird. It's just weird. Yes.
Yeah. Credit to Bournemouth. I mean, percentage-wise, it's 55-45 now. They've clawed their way back into this game. But as
Geordie down.
Geordie Toomba says, slow, poor passing. Where is the front foot football? It's terrible to watch. Credit to Bournemouth though. Willock got injured earlier on. He's not happy. Like, he got taken out in the first 5 minutes of the game, and Anthony Gordon's coming on. 35 minutes on the clock. Anthony Gordon coming on, and it'll be Willock going off. But Willock got clattered in that first part of the game, and he's not really recovered from it. He's holding the back of his hamstring. It's actually taped up his leg as well. That's a big blow for him personally, with Wembley on the horizon. But Gordon comes on, and he's going to get a lot longer than he expected. Barry, good afternoon, mate.
Hello, guys. You all right?
Yeah,
Barry.
Good to see you, mate. What do you make of the first 35 minutes?
I've just literally getting in from work, so I've been listening to you guys on the way home on the bus, and then getting in. It sounded like they were again like a bit like the West Ham game, that Bournemouth seemed to know exactly what to do to try and stifle us down. But I certainly didn't expect them to score. You know, you're sitting there sort of shell shocked that our impreachable defence has been beaten yet again, 2 games in a row. And you just think, it's going to come. You're expecting it to be teams like Liverpool, I suppose, who would score against them. I'm just trying to catch the highlights now to see what the goal was like. I was just listening to you guys describe it.
So ASM's on the left. Gordon has come on the right. I'm just trying to work out which formation we've gone for. I think has he gone for Longstaff and Joe Linton in the middle?
I think Gordon's on the right side of the 3.
Gordon's on the right side, yeah. ASM's on the left. You've got Longstaff. You've got Joe Linton. We'll see. We'll let it settle down. Newcastle's got a free kick. 36 minutes played. Newcastle got a free kick about 25, 30 yards out. We'll stay with this. Kieran Trippier, surprise, is over it. Lobs the ball in, tries a cheeky version. It's fallen short of the Bournemouth defence. ASM flicks the ball in. Bournemouth first to the ball again. Newcastle win it back though through Trippier. ASM tries to go on a wind and run. Has a bit of luck, gets a lucky deflection, scuffs it across the box. Gordon gets it now. Nice sharp pass from Gordon. Longstaff turns, wins the ball. Fabian Shaw picks it up on the right-hand side, rolls it back to Trippier. Trippier to Gordon. Gordon to Shaw. Playing little triangles here. Bournemouth pushing Newcastle back onto the halfway line, into their own half now. Back to Botman. Botman to Burn. And Newcastle just keeping a bit of possession now. Just trying to keep a hold of the ball. Trying to play the ball around, feel their way back into the game. Gordon looks lively. He really does. He's a breath of fresh air, Gordon, compared to what we've had over the years. Alongside Almiron, it's a defender's nightmare. It really is. If we can get the attack mindedness back, this game isn't over.
It's kind of what we want more done. We're attacking a lot. Go on, son.
Yeah. Again, going on a run. Is that a free kick? No, the free doesn't even entertain it. William Medley says, we're all over the place. Conceding at the back post again is poor. And it is always Trippier on the back post, sadly. It wasn't his fault this time. You know, we had 2 people leave the man as Almiron chases down the right-hand side, linking up with Gordon. Gordon is fouled. We'll see a very European rule. There was at least 4 rules there. More rules than Greg's from Anthony Gordon. But he won the free kick, and I don't mind him doing it when he's wearing the...
Yeah, he's got.
I don't mind him doing it when he's playing for us, surprisingly. I bloody hated him doing it for Everton. But yeah, it hasn't led to a free kick. It's led to Zamora getting the throw in for Bournemouth. Barry, what was your prediction before the game? Were you confident of a win?
I had us down as 2-0. Okay. I've just watched the goal there and just think that is Steve Bruce defending. Looking at it, I don't want to say that about House team because House team's more organised than that normally, but that looks like a Steve Bruce team. Mm-hmm. That was shocking considering how well we've done the rest of the season. Just to the guy at the far post. So has ASM been on from the start, Steve?
He has,
Yeah.
yeah. The only change was Isak on for Wilson. Wilson's got a hamstring injury.
He hasn't had much of the ball. It's been mainly down the right. So until Gordon's been on.
Joe Linton wins the ball and plays it out to ASM. He's on one of those runs on the left-hand side, whips the ball in. Gordon was at the back post. Bournemouth defence get there again. And Newcastle, again, pushing hard to try and get back into this game. But Bournemouth clearing the lines. 40 minutes on the clock. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 0. And Bournemouth back on the attack again. Longstaff gets tangled up a little bit there as the ball gets put through. Solanke was running through, but Newcastle defend well and get the ball back under control. But
Have we gone 3 at the back?
It's hard to say what we've done at the moment because, players are all over the place, says Dave.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to find out where we're at here. I don't believe he's... I thought he might have gone 4-4-2, but he hasn't.
I think he has. I think what he's done is pack the midfield.
Yeah.
Because that's where we haven't been really winning it. So I think he's packed the midfield. I think he's gone 3-5.
He's gone 3 at the back.
4-4-2.
4-4-2. It's difficult to see at the moment. Ball's whipped in again.
Well, looking at this, I think it is, yeah.
No, I think it's 4-4-2. I think he's went because Joe Linton and Longstaff was in the middle there.
Willock's been awful, says Daniel Kane. Nobody's really been on top form, but Willock was injured, mate. I think after that bad challenge that he received in the first half, he was literally, put out to play.
Which wasn't even a foul, given as a foul.
No, it wasn't a foul. A referee nearly didn't give that as a foul. In fact, he hasn't. He's given it as a free kick against Longstaff and given it to Bournemouth. So we're not getting any joy out of this referee, to be honest. There was a potential foul on ASM, which was completely ignored, and then Longstaff came bungling in, and he gave away a free kick. So it was the right decision, but he should have given something for ASM. So I mean, Darren, first half, it's not been pretty, has it? Newcastle have got a lot of work to do in the second half if they're going to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think we need hard times when Eddie Howe can get them in and say a few things to them in hard times, Steve, because to be honest, we've been woeful.
Yeah.
No, it's stopping. You can't even say what's need positive things you can say. Can you first? I can't think anything positive things I can say first half.
No, me neither. George, I don't think there'll be any need for the rattle if we play. We'll continue to play in this.
Things are going. It's quite.
George, you went up top. That's what it is, George. You went up top.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing.
George, take your top off. It's jinxing us.
No. I thought it would be tight for a while, and then we would get on top. But it's gone the other way completely.
Where, man, sloppiness.
And I've got a sneaking fancy Bournemouth's hardline tactics have worked. They've kicked me out of the game, I think, by the sound of what you lads were saying.
Yeah, Rob Olgoth says we need composure in midfield. We're being out shithoused, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. Shaw comes forward, hits a shot, but not much power in it. Gordon challenges, wins the ball back. And Newcastle again on the attack. Isak's got the ball on the left-hand side. Stubbs a shot across the box, had no pace in it and easily into the hands of the goalkeeper. And,
Stubbs is playing, is he?
Yeah, he stubbed the ball, definitely. It wasn't a clean shot, but he got it on his right, controlled it with his right, and then just stubbed the shot across the...
So it was a hard angle to shoot from, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. No centre forward. What price Chris Wood, says Steve Middlemiss. Luke Bailey says, stop going on as if we're playing awful. You're saying we're all over the place. Keep the positivity. We don't have a God-given right to win every Premier League game. We've only lost once all season. Yeah. It's a bit of realism from Luke, I guess. We're not playing well, Luke, but it's...
We're not playing well, but we're all like I say, we've all got our opinions. Like, we want to win. Of course, we want to win every game. It's impossible to win every game, but I don't mind getting beat if you play well, but we're not even playing well.
I think we've got to give Bournemouth credit. They've come with a game plan today. Newcastle need to find a way around it. We're not 2 or 3-0 down yet. We're 1-0 down against Bournemouth. We've got a full second half to play, and we need to work out a way around this. You know, Newcastle have become draw specialists. It has to be said, and this is where Tyndall and Howe make their money. they've got to find a way around it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's another bit of sloppiness, this time from Botman, which is uncharacteristic, as Bournemouth again push forward. But Newcastle win the ball back through Joe Linton, who's sitting deeper now, and passed the ball to Botman. Botman gave the ball away again. And once again, Bournemouth on the attack. Down that right-hand side. Just queuing up now. Newcastle just look stretched. Chasing shadows is probably the expression I would use in this particular moment. 2 minutes.
We're all over the place, aren't we? We're all over the place.
Yeah.
2 minutes of injury time. 2 minutes of injury time. Newcastle can't wait for this half-time whistle long enough as Bournemouth show their class as goal scorer Senesi hits the ball, overhits the ball, out of play, and it goes for a goal kick. But every Bournemouth player is running through a brick wall for the team at the moment. This is what teams do when they're down the bottom. Steve Middlemas says, let's see if we have a plan B at half-time. Dave says, second half, we'll come out and win this game. I hope you're right, Dave. I hope you're right. It's it's not lost yet. 1-0, 1-0. It's half time, and Newcastle will come out hopefully with a different game plan and be able to do things. And injury, of course, took Callum Wilson out the side. For those of you who weren't aware that Wilson was injured, got a hamstring injury. Nothing to worry about, according to Eddie Howe. Oh, it's a great ball through to Longstaff.
Get it!
It's a good. It's got to be.
Get it!
It's a goal.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, George.
George didn't react there.
That came out of nothing. But I'm telling you now, Newcastle didn't give in. That was a great finish by Almiron. That'll do him the world of good as well.
Agreed.
That was ASM keeping the ball in play. He started it. He jinxed past one, jinxed past two, played the lovely slide rule ball through the Longstaff, who hit the ball at the keeper. The keeper palmed it out. Almiron came in on the right-hand side, picked up the loose ball and tucked it into the bottom left-hand corner. But it was a great shot from Longstaff, who was charging through. Credit to ASM, though. ASM is the creator of that goal. Becoming a bit of a nemesis for Bournemouth, of course. In that win down Bournemouth under Steve Bruce, he got three assists. So fantastic, well done. And Luke Bailey was saying we should be positive. Maybe
that's completely against run of play, that though, hasn't it?
It did come against the run of play, but you
take it all day long, though. You take it all day long.
Absolutely.
I think you take what Luke. I think
it's a good
what
time
said.
to score. Good time to score. Though, just on half time.
We'll take what Luke says as well, though. You sometimes can get involved in this whole doom and gloom. Half time, Newcastle United are back in it, 1-1 against Bournemouth, and
great time to score.
68% possession for Newcastle in the first half, 32% for Bournemouth. 6 shots each, on target 3 shots each, off target 2 shots each. Passes, Newcastle 338. To Bournemouth 162, and clear-cut chances, 2 for Bournemouth and none for Newcastle. 4 corners to 2 in Newcastle's favour. Both had an offside each. Blocked shots, 1 apiece. Tackles 1, 10 for Bournemouth, 3 for Newcastle. Aerial duels 1. This is where Bournemouth are doing better than Newcastle. 9 for Bournemouth as opposed to 5 for Newcastle. 2 saves apiece for the goalkeepers. No fouls committed by either team. Fouls 1, 4 for Bournemouth, 2 for Newcastle. No yellow cards in the match and no red cards in the match. Newcastle United are 1-1. We'll have a quick ad break and we're back after this. Thanks as always to our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to Blowhole Brewery. You can find them at blowholebrewery.co.uk. Beers brewed on the River Tyne. And thanks to United Group Travel Limited, UK Coach Holidays, based in Morpeth. telephone 01670 362 460 and mobile 07957 141 654. Graham, your driver, Beverly answering your calls, looking after you on your tour. Thanks also to 3 Property, who specialise in sourcing investment properties for their clients who are looking to invest in the North East. They offer a full in-house service from sourcing the deals to managing the properties for you. They've done over 100 plus deals in the past 12 months for clients all over the UK. Give the guys a follow on Instagram, matty.patter_northeast property and phil.reed_northeast property, or email phil@3property.co.uk if you're interested in getting a good property deal. Thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wales and Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the videos and the technology side of things. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button underneath the video today. Hit the thumb up to like the channel and click share to your social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. If you want to become a member, you pay a £25 one-off fee, and you can go to the website, NUFCmatters.com, and find membership pack, or put your smartphone over the QR code and it will take you straight there. If you subscribe, we do give you a free car sticker. All you need to do is email john@nufcmatters.com and he'll post you one out. We also support the food bank on this channel, nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. You'll find the matchday bucket where you can make a virtual donation. We've also got some events coming up over the next couple of months. First off, we've got an evening with Steve Howie at the Tyneside Irish Centre, Friday the 24th of February. Tickets are available from our website, nufcmatters.com, and they are priced £15, not $50, as you can see on the poster. An evening with Nobby Solano is also at the Tyneside Irish Centre, Saturday the 25th of March. Tickets are £15. Book now at nufcmatters.com. And an evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson, Thursday the 20th of April, again at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are £15 and you book now at nufcmatters.com. Supermac and John Gibson will also be at Felling Cricket Club on the 16th of February. To buy tickets for that, contact the venue direct. We've got a whole host of t-shirts available from our website, nufcmatters.com. It gives you plenty of ideas for presents, for birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. Get your Anthony Gordon t-shirts and your Wembley t-shirts today. Okay, Darren, give us your review of the first half, mate.
First half, Steve, pretty much dreadful. Haven't passed the ball well enough. A couple of sloppy to defend and they've scored from, like Dan Burns, the ball legs on the concept piece in Ajax losing his man. I think it's been a wake up second half, so even come out a bit more, but be a bit more sharp and a bit more quick at, you know what I mean? We're not like we're tired again, not play like we're not playing our normal selves, are we? So second half, come out, play a bit more better second half. We need to wake up, smell of fresh air. Bournemouth been bullying us and playing their game plan really well. To be fair, they've done nothing wrong, but they're doing their best. They're down there scrapping for points where we're not like that really, but we're better than that. We're miles better than how we're playing, so we need to change anyhow, get in that changing room, say a few things to the players, wake them up, and second off, do a little bit more better.
Okay, George, Newcastle, as you said, good time to score half time.
Absolutely. I mean, it changes the dynamic in the dressing room to start with. Because if they'd gone in the way they were, all the Bournemouth manager would have had to say to them was, keep doing the same, you're doing all right. They've now got something else to think about, and that changes the whole dynamic in the dressing room. I'm gobsmacked at the stats you read out, Steve. Mm-hmm. Twice as many passes by us than Bournemouth. That doesn't sound like a team that's getting the runaround. It sounds like the other way. So Bournemouth, obviously, their players are dying for the cause, as it were. It sounds like to me. And that's the slight difference. Otherwise, the game's there for the taking for me on those stats. And once again, He's only been on a short while. Gordon's given them lots of more things to think about. And I don't know how it's hard because I wasn't watching it, but I've got a feel if you look back at that goal, you'll probably find the fact that Gordon was on give Miggy that little bit of freedom to nip it and get that ball off a rebound where he's been kicked all over and marked by 2 or 3 all the time. So I'm still positive that this game's there for us to take if we keep playing the way we were. And those stats that you just read out were just phenomenal in our favour.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Geordie Toonvalley says, summing it up, very disappointing football from Newcastle. Eddie really needs to see some quicker play, more energy needed. Fair play to Bournemouth. They're making it difficult. Great work from Maxi. Yeah, they've just highlighted it on the halftime talk on Sky. The effort he put in to stretch and keep the ball in play. And then obviously the ball went to Dan Burn and the rest is history. The formation change has saved the game. It's moved us right up the pitch. Daniel Kane says, if you want to finish top 4, you've got to come out in this second half and win this. PDK says, I'm not a Longstaff fan. Good afternoon, Julie. Hope you're well. How far is Target off playing, says Stu Middlemiss. He's not training with the team yet. He's back on grass, though, Steve, so still a way to go. Not massively a way to go, but still a way to go for him, although Manquillo is probably only a game away from coming back. Barry, I know you only got in probably that last 15, 20 minutes of the half, but you know what you probably saw was Newcastle not playing as badly as we've seen in that first half hour.
I think that's it. I agree with what George was saying. I think Gordon's coming on is freed up that little bit of space for other players in the team to make the movements and stuff that they were probably lacking earlier on. I mean, obviously the Wilson injury was a shock, so it leaves it on Isaac, which I'm still not 100% sure whether that guy's an actual out-and-out centre forward or whether he's not. A few times attacking right side rather than. So again, we're expecting another player to play the centre forward role because we haven't got anybody else. Over the moon, they scored. I think the confidence will be there for Miggy. Fingers crossed, it's probably the ideal time for him to get a goal. Again, another game without Bruno. We have loads of passes, but how many of them have actually been what classes ball splitting or magic passes down the centre? It's a lot of them there on the list you read out, Steve, but how many of them have been the sort of thing we've come to expect from the team? But again, it's hopefully second half how we'll turn it around. Like you say, we could do with the confidence before we play the Scousers next week. Because again, my worry is if we play them like this, it sounds doom and gloom, doesn't it? It sounds like you're really cheesed off that you think, well, we're not playing well enough. But it's just a shame we've got 2 games to go till the cup final comes and we struggled against West Ham and we're struggling again today.
Keeping our best form of the final, man, Barry. That's what we're doing. It's
I'll go with that.
Lulling Manchester United into a false sense of security. Vince, Julie's asking if you've got aircon in that mask.
Steve, you know that I don't.
Definitely don't. I know that from the Great North Run. Yeah, Vince, give us your half-time review. We'll be getting ready for the second half soon.
Well, it was the stats that you read out, Steve, about the tackles won, the recovery of the ball. Bournemouth, what they're doing, they're fighting. Like it says, they're a team at the bottom, and that's what they're doing. And that's them stats. We're normally, we're battling in midfield, we win the ball a lot, we're closed down, quick and all that. We're just not doing any of it. It's just not happening. And I think that's what Howe needs to needs to get them in and go, right, what's going on? And give them a bit of heads up, change things and that. But we've had more of the ball, we've had them are the right stats. And I think it's just the battling. I think Bournemouth can only fight for so long, they'll get tired. And I think that's what we will do. I think again, they were getting tired. That's what they've been doing, fighting. And then we're broke on them. And we can do that again because that's what we've become good at as well, a counter-attacking football. And I think it will be all right.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I think Newcastle, if they can do what maybe Steve Middlemiss suggests and maybe switch Maxi and Isaac for 10 minutes or Gordon, make them think, I think there's still hope for Newcastle here. I always feel confident going in at half time, level and knowing that Newcastle are so fit that they can continue to perform in the second half. So maybe we could turn the tides. John Justice Allen says, need to release the ball quicker from the back instead of dwelling on it. Geordie Toon for Life says, hopefully my Christmas tree won't come down tonight. Of course, quite a few people keeping the Christmas tree up until Newcastle United get beat. PDK says, just need to string more than 2 passes together, which, I think you're right. As long as we win the cup, I'm not bothered, says Steve. You want to win you want to win a place in the Champions League as well. Surely we've been in those positions for that long. It would feel disappointing if we dropped out now. Jersey Mag said, ASM is looking good. Look, defensively, certainly looking good. He's getting forward a bit more, and he helped create the goal. So Jersey Mag, he's doing what he's been asked to do. He'll get plaudits when he does well, I'm sure, from Newcastle fans, 100%. Tim Cairns, you are 100% right. We cannot play any worse in the second half. Tune 2020 says, results have gone for us today. We need 3 points. Hashtag 9 Talk TV says Darth Vader is a Toon fan. He's on the dark side, that's for sure.
Why do you think he's black and his stormtroopers are white? It's so he's black and white wherever he goes.
Exactly. Gordon's going to shine in the second half, says Tim Cairns. And is it natural, George, to have the final in the back of a player's mind and be just off the pace, says Steve Middlemas. So he's asking you, George, do you think it's natural for a player? I mean,
even the great side of the 50s that used to get accused of that. In fact, it go further back into the late 40s when it was responsible for Charlie Wayman being transferred, that they had a big 6-round match against Charlton, and the league game before it, there was, because they were near the top of the league as well, they lost to a bottom side about 5-0 at home. And a lot of people said that the team had thrown it and Charlie Wayman got the most blame. And that ended up in a big row and Charlie Wayman got transferred. So it isn't a modern thing. I can understand why they'd have it in the back of their mind. Come on, even in a top player's professional history, they're not going to play at Wembley many times. But there's a difference between having it in your mind and having it affecting your mind. If it's affecting your mind, then you shouldn't be going. That's my view. But yes, have it in your mind and play hard to make sure you get in the team. But to let it affect you to the point where you don't give your best, that's criminal as far as I'm concerned.
Teams are out for the second half. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall in conversation. Almiron focus on the screen at the moment as he is running backwards and forwards. Camera's also focused on ASM, clearly talking about how much of an influence he's going to have on the second half. Isaac as well. And Newcastle's new forward there certainly hasn't appeared to have broken sweat, shall we say, in the first half. So I would imagine he's got a lot to give in the second half. Julie, see you in the second after the game. Yeah, that will be great. Mike Stewart says, let's face it, as the game kicks off in the second half, the engine room is not at its peak. Bruno is missing, and Big Joe probably only putting 90% effort, afraid of a yellow card with the Carabao Cup. Coming up, Bournemouth straight in here, and Newcastle got some defending to do. Safely behind though for a goal kick, and Newcastle fans, you can breathe easy at home. Chantel says, let's have some positivity for the second half and hope Howe gave them a good talking to. Chantel, we'll try our very best. I think you can only talk about what you see on the screen. We've all got different opinions. Certainly wasn't a positive first half for Newcastle, and when you go a goal down, it does feel a bit doom and gloom, but I'm sure the lads will be a bit happier with the way the score is at the moment. If the injury to Willock is bad, we are very light in midfield for Liverpool, says PDK. It's Tappy Lappy, no distinctive through balls. Come on, how are the lads? And Luke Bailey channeling the positive energy like Chantel. Listen, all for that. Let's hope Newcastle give us something to shout about in the second half. So 1-1 is the score. If you're just tuning in late, there was no Callum Wilson today. He's got that now infamous hamstring injury, a reoccurrence, although Eddie Howe says it should only keep him out of today's game, and he should be okay for next week, he said, hopefully. ASM has played quite well in the first half defensively, certainly. try to push forward attacking wise, but constantly closed down by 1 and 2 defenders from Bournemouth. And Newcastle got the equaliser though through Almiron. Gordon has come on onto the right-hand side and just trying to get a grasp of whether there's been any positional changes, but it looks pretty
I think
much...
we've played a 4-3-3, Steve. Gordon's on the right side of the three. You look how it looks like.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine you're right. It does look like that. It certainly looks as if we've come out like that anyway. Newcastle pushing forward anyway. Almiron to Isaac, who's on the right-hand side now. Trippier tries to fire the ball in, but it hits the Bournemouth defender. Gordon making himself busy and available, and a little interchange of passes between him and Trippier. But the Bournemouth defenders clear it, and it's a throw into Newcastle right in that corner on the right-hand side of the pitch. And Senesi, who's the Bournemouth goal scorer, in the thick of the action again. Newcastle with a throw in. We'll stay with this for now. Trippier takes the throw, goes back to Botman and to Shaw, who plays the ball across to Joe Linton. Out wide on the left-hand side, the Dan Burn now. He plays it to ASM, who, again, is looking to push forward, but loses the ball. And Bournemouth will put a great ball through, but Nick Pope straight off his line and kicks the ball into row Z. So, Darren, early exchanges going pretty much the same way as the opening of the first half did, didn't it? It's tight. It's not going to be an easy win if we can get a win down here.
No, it's going to be a hard game, Steve. Like it's like say, second half kicked off exactly the same with deja vu, really, isn't it? First 5 minutes, exactly the same. But it's going to hope we wake up second half and just concentrate, get stuck in a little bit more, play a bit better.
Dan Gordon ran about 25, 30 yards there and went sliding in, and good job he didn't make contact there. Otherwise, that would have been a yellow card, no doubt about it. But Newcastle on the offensive again. Joe Linton winning the ball back. ASM's got the ball on the left-hand side again. Goes for a rather ambitious ball through the middle to Almiron. Doesn't get the right curl on it, and it just easily back into the goalkeeper's hands. Gordon again now on the right-hand side, chasing the ball down, and does well. Helps win the ball back with the help of Longstaff. Ball back in the feet of Shaw. Shaw to Botman. Botman to Burn. And Burn now. Long ball up the line on the left-hand side. It's fallen lovely. Misjudged bounce by the Bournemouth player, but Isaac just can't get the ball under control again. And that was a chance there, half chance, albeit. But Bournemouth again, love that long ball, either over the top or down the right-hand side. But Lerma's attempts to play his man in just fail miserably. And
they're trying to look down bin on long ball over down bin because he knows he hasn't got the pace. A few they're playing the ball out.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, no doubt about it. What have you made of the opening exchanges, Darren?
Yeah, but still, wake up, Steve. Like I say, we're not. And our first thought was dreadful. Allow us to score a goal against one of the play, but just play a bit more balance. And that's like Eason done. Both kind of play like they'll get tired the next 10 minutes, or they will start to tire just on Newcastle. There, can we? If we want to win it, we need to start showing signs, don't we, going forward. And Isaac needs to start trying to get the ball control a little bit and hold the ball up a little bit more better. And yes, Sam needs to improve his passing a little bit. But I still find him might get another goal, Steve, somewhere down the line.
George, 50 minutes played, 1-1. Are you confident of Newcastle getting something out of this game from what you can hear from us guys?
Still am. Just trying to total with the stats that we got from the first half. It sounds like that we're doing the same again, but probably with a bit more energy now that Gordon's on the pitch. And I think they should try and get the ball to Gordon as often as they can, because I think he would attract more from the Bournemouth defenders.
That's
and the
never
possibility
a free kick. Never ever.
More free kicks and things like that. So I'm still positive about the result.
Yeah, a lot of confusion over this, whether there was a free kick
there.
And yeah, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And Trippier and Solanke clashing, and it was never a free kick that, but referees chosen to give it. ASM wasn't happy there. Newcastle went through. ASM was free on his own in the box. Longstaff went for the shot instead of squaring the ball to ASM, and he was throwing his arms around in annoyance. Goal scorer, Cienzi's gone down. Looks like he's got problems, and I think he's probably going to go off. The number 25, who scored the goal at the back post for Bournemouth in the first half, is indeed going off as he claps the crowd. And number 6 for Bournemouth coming on. Just let them make that sub, and I think it's pretty much like for like by the looks of it. Yeah, it is. It's Senesi going off, and Chris Meffam coming on. Injury looked like a problem with his back. Senesi there. 52 minutes played. Free kick to Bournemouth. Much disputed free kick. We'll stay with it as it's whipped in and whipped out by Kieran Trippier for a throw in, and not got to clear the line still here. Okay, Barry, thoughts on the second half so far?
Yeah, it's crisp passing, back and forwards across it. They just seem to be lacking that cutting edge that they normally have, and I don't know whether, obviously, Isaac's going to take a few games to get into the team and up and running. It just they seem to have the speed to go forward. They just don't seem to be putting it. I don't know. They seem to be lacking that killer edge, Dave. It's a weird one because it's a team that's battling for their life, like you guys said before. But we should have enough quality in the side to overcome Bournemouth.
Yeah,
you know, it's the players we've got out there. Yeah, we've got a couple of guys missing, but it's still a quality side that they've got out.
How come they can kick runs out of Newcastle and we get any free kicks and they're getting ones for softies?
Yeah, it's we're getting into a bit of a frustrating part of the game here, where Bournemouth are throwing themselves on the ground. Newcastle are, not really putting any serious challenges in, and Newcastle are getting punished. And it's a free kick in the same position again. This time, Bournemouth go for a rather weird kind of, I'm not even sure he meant to do that actually, but it was a short free kick. They've managed to wangle their way into the box. It hasn't worked out, and it's gone out for a goal kick. So not the greatest of free kicks. That bit of a waste from Bournemouth, and Newcastle get the ball to Pope to Botman, and we are building from the back once again. Chantel saying she was slightly naive, thought it would be an easy win. Yeah, I think well, from the predictions from the lads, I mean, I felt like this would be a draw all week. A lot of people fancying a Newcastle win. It's always difficult playing teams at the bottom. Bournemouth are fighting for their lives. You've got the Eddie Howe effect as well. Eddie Howe going back there for the first time. Newcastle, of course, missing Bruno, missing Callum Wilson as well. So it was always going to be difficult. Vince, 54 minutes, now 55 minutes played, 1-1. Any rays of hope for you in this second half? Not another draw, says PDK, but what's your thoughts? What are you thinking?
I think we can still get something out of this. Like Barry says, we've got players up, but we've got quality there and quality enough to win it. Like says, I'm seeing this from Bournemouth, but then they're not passing with any quality. Like says, they're going down easy, winning odd free kicks, which is like I said before. Like says, they put in the hard tackles, no yellow cards, and this has happened a few games in a row. Like says, these refs need to be looked at, I think. But maybe if you look at his back pocket, I think he's got a big one in his back pocket. But we'll get rid of that. But like says, I'm not saying like says yes, they're battling all that, but I think they will tire out and we will. I think it's just a lucky break or something that we need. Like says, we did get in the first half, so maximum try and keeping the ball in, and then that bit of quality. We have got that bit of quality, but I still think we can do it. I'm going to think we can do it.
ASM went through there, beat one man, beat two, then had another ambitious shot from about 20 yards out, and he blazed it into the crowd. The cameras focusing on the a promotion photograph on one of the stands at Bournemouth. Now doing on the second one, and Callum Wilson is on there, clearly talking, and Brian Fraser there as well. clearly talking about, how much they're probably missing Callum Wilson today. Newcastle, of course, not, as Vince says, not shot shy, but certainly missing a threat up front. Chantel says, I think of this team, we have out now, concentrate and pick the pace up a little, then we can win. Let's see. So, we'll see. Newcastle United still 1-1 with Bournemouth. As I say, not the greatest of games. Camera focusing on Matt Ritchie again, another former Bournemouth player. Big game for all of these guys today, and maybe Ritchie could come on and be the hero. I think a lot of us were expecting it to be Gordon, but you never know what quirky things football's going to throw up. Possession is still in Newcastle's favour. 66% possession for Newcastle, 34% possession for Bournemouth, and 402 passes to 203 passes in favour of Newcastle, which is incredible. Yeah, it just shows that Newcastle are still dominating this game in more ways than one.
The only thing that's missing is the finishing point, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah, and that has been the case, throughout a few games recently. Since the World Cup, we have drawn a lot of games, and there's nothing wrong with drawing games away from home as long as you win your home games. It's essentially it's how it should work. Gordon's in down the right hand side, but the substitute Memphis gets across and puts the ball out for a throw in. Trippier trying to link up with Gordon on a couple of occasions so far. Botman's got the ball anyway. Plays it out to Burn on the left-hand side. ASM is making himself available, making space, surrounded again.
Loses the ball, Steve.
Lost the ball again. He was surrounded by two players, and Bournemouth going for that long, hopeful ball up the right-hand side. Botman again across to sweep up behind Dan Burn. But you're right, Darren. That's definitely, it's definitely their plan. They have targeted that right-hand side, left-hand side because of Dan Burn.
Because every time he's pushing forward Dan Burn, there's the no, he hasn't got the legs to get back, so that's not their attack, isn't it? Attack Dan Burn, Pierce on the right-hand side. But we need to be careful of that. Make sure he doesn't get caught out.
Newcastle pushing forward again. Gordon and ASM on the same side, and I love it. Gordon gets the ball. His heads down and
pass it, Maxi, man.
ASM is gone right away across the box. He's passed it back to Almiron.
Too late.
He ran out of space, to be fair. Trippier again now, keeping the ball on the ground. ASM is on the right-hand side. He's put a wonderful ball in, but nobody there. Too close to the goalkeeper. But yeah, look, the effort's there from ASM. That's all you want. Gordon has just run the full length of the pitch there. Hand in the back of the Bournemouth player. That's going to cost him a yellow card. Gordon becomes the first person booked. He ran the full length of the pitch to do that. He unfortunate really, had his hands raised, glanced off the back of the back of Smith.
That shows passion, that doesn't it? Though that's like, that shows committing there. He wants to get back and help the team. I like that. And I got
that's his 7th yellow card of the season. Dan Burns, not a left back, and over the last few games he's been found out, says William. Interesting at the press conference yesterday, George, when asked by Lee Ryder, it was a great question. He asked Eddie Howe, do you see Dan Burn as a centre back out of position, or do you see him as a left back? And he said, I see him very much as a left back. He said, although at the start of the season we played him there because Matt Targett was taken ill, he says, but he has now been trained and played in that position so much that it would be wrong of me to think of him as a centre half now. I think of him as a left back. What did you make of that, George?
Well, again, it's how being confident about his training methods and about the way he can handle people. The only observation I'd make is it's Botman having to go across the cover for Dan Burn. Where's the ASM? You see, that's the problem. Is who backs up Dan Burn when he moves forward, and other situations it's been whoever's been playing wide left, and it seems to me that ESM can't do that.
Yeah, Isak picked the ball up deep there, and he went forward, but then tried to play a long, hopeful ball forward for Longstaff, and he mishit it, and it was a wasted opportunity. Newcastle, though, seemed to have a bit more urgency about them. ASM's picked the ball up on the halfway line. This time he does lay the ball off early to Miggy, who was making a run down the right-hand side. Miggy and Almiron link up again. ASM link up again. ASM tried to pull the ball back to Longstaff, but he unfortunately passed it to a Bournemouth player. Bournemouth cleared the lines again, but Newcastle trying to keep them penned in. 62 minutes played. Bournemouth 1 and Newcastle United 1. Yeah, Barry, that was an interesting quote by Eddie Howe yesterday. I thought, that he does see him as a left back. Matt Targett, of course, probably won't be back in time for the final. I think he'd probably be fit for the run-in after that. But yeah, it was interesting to hear that he does see him as a left back now.
Yeah, I mean, Burns proved it. George is right. When somebody else, whether it be Joe Linton, whoever plays left attacking midfielders in front of Burn, he doesn't have any problems whatsoever. Yeah. And I'm probably going to get slated for pointing out the obvious that he struggled in the last 2 games when guess who's been playing left attack? The guy who doesn't offer him any cover whatsoever and leaves him isolated more times than else. Yes, he's going to look tired because he's probably having to do twice as much work to keep up with the duties that ESM should be doing. Mm-hmm. Burn is the best left back we've got. He's comfortable playing in that position. Yes, he doesn't look as quick, maybe because of his size, but how many times has Burn stretched out that long leg of his and taken the ball away from an oncoming attacker? He's got the abilities. He just maybe doesn't look as quick as some of the other players do, but I think it's got to be him and somebody else. I mean, if it works out the way it's looking, it's going to work out, the cup final for me would be Joe Linton playing up front, left-sided forward, and having Bruno in the middle, which would give, hopefully, Dan Burn the cover he needs again, because the two of them seem to play really well together. For me today, this is ASM's chance to shine. This is probably the best chance he's going to get. It's the poorest team, no offense to Bournemouth, out the teams who played in the last 2 or 3 games. Is he shining? Not really. He should be capable of tearing these guys apart. Again, Gordon's having a good game, but the team don't seem to be doing it in general. But people keep saying witch hunt for ASM and comments like, we're being harsh to him. I would love ASM to do it. I would love ASM to pull them apart and say, look at me, I'm going to be in the team for Wembley. I would love him to do it. He just doesn't. He's, as Malcolm keeps describing him, the guy spends more time going backwards and forwards across the pitch than he does up front.
I mean, look, I'm not going to fault ASM's effort today. I'm looking at the effort now and thinking, well, from his perspective, he's putting in what he would consider a good performance. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's not good enough at the moment. It's not we're not creating enough chances, and I don't know. There is a big issue in that attacking area. There really is, and like was said all along, Isak's not an out and out goal scorer. He probably play better in a 4-4-2 formation. He probably play better with somebody alongside him. But ASM, I'm not going to criticize ASM today. I think he's had a better game. I think Bournemouth deserve a lot of praise for what they've done, and I just genuinely do not feel. I don't feel that ASM has had a bad game today. I think he's probably had one of his better games. We'll go back to the action there. Longstaff has he's been accused of a serious foul here, but I think the TV coverage has cleared that up. But certainly wasn't any threat of him being sent off. It is a free kick against him, but
if it was higher, Steve, he would have been off the pitch.
Yes, yeah. It was never a serious foul. What a load of crap, says Steve. ESM, one of ESM's biggest fans. I hope you couldn't have been talking about me because I wasn't criticising him.
No,
just shows how Bruno is a miss, says Dave. Yeah, 100%. Bruno will be a revelation when he comes back.
Thing is, Steve, but no, Bruno's not missing. People need to get over it. And when he's not available, stop mentioning his name. He's not available. So yeah, people saying we're missing Bruno. We know that, but League Point mentioned all the time. We need to focus on the 11 more players.
Can it be a one-man team?
Exactly.
No.
No, definitely not. This game is as every bit frustrating as I thought it was going to be, because Bournemouth are scrapping for their lives. It's coming down to that. Bournemouth are throwing themselves on the ground at every opportunity. It's like watching a game of Medal of Honor on a PlayStation. That's basically what it's like. We've got people diving left, right, and centre. You think they're being hit with shrapnel. I mean, that's how bad it is. And you know that they're fairly innocuous challenges. Trippier's having a chat with Stuart Atwell, the referee, plenty conversation, but I don't think things are going to change. And Gary O'Neill is busy looking at the screen and just, probably delighted with what he's seeing. He'd be happy with this. The Bournemouth player is getting tested for concussion. I really cannot see this. I mean, how he could be concussed when he was rolling around the ground, and making such a meal of it. I really cannot understand. So this is just, for me, a bit of time wasting from Bournemouth. They are quite clearly happy with disrupting Newcastle out of the rhythm. Dan Burn is going down and probably giving them a little bit of false sympathy here. Steve says ASM is better than most today. Get your blinkers off, man. Barry, he hates ASM. It's a fact. We are a one-man team. It shows that, says Dave. Look, Bruno is a big influence. Anyway, Graham Jones is back in the middle of Tyndall and Howe. Again, a lot of praise for him from Eddie Howe today about the work that he's done as a coach, and a lot of praise. They're all going to need the team together and work in a bit of unity. Isaac's through, and 6 points to Wigan as that ball goes straight over the top of the bar. It was good though. It was a good position to get into. And it was a great run from Almiron to Trippier. It was a forceful jump by Gordon. The ball was laid down, landed at Isaac's feet. It would have been easy to square it, of course, to Gordon, who did have his hands out and say, "Why didn't you pass to me?" But Isaac blazed it over the bar. But Newcastle, a bit better there, a bit better. Vince, coming up to 70 minutes now, mate, and it's just scrappy, isn't it?
It is, but it's like they're going on about ESM. Yes, I think he's had one of games, but you're right, Arthur. I think you're right, Steve. It's Bournemouth are doing enough to disrupt them. They're stopping with playing like season. They just keep going down, and they're going to do this because they're quite happy with the point. They'll be quite happy with the point at home now. They need every little point they get, and that's what they're doing. They're disrupting them. But no, I think ESM's he's doing what he can. He's getting forward. We want him on the ball, and he's done all right. We just need that little bit more quality, and I think we are starting to get more and more forward, more and more at them, and that's why the Bournemouth players are going down, because they want to hold it. But I think it's bitty. It's what they're doing.
Newcastle should have scored there. Bournemouth, I was going to say, Bournemouth went through. It was a rather weak shot. Newcastle had managed to push forward here. ASM managed to squeeze through again. It got pushed out wide to him by Longstaff. He got a wonderful shot in. The goalkeeper spilled it, and Longstaff had now got in to where the goalkeeper was. He collided into Longstaff, not the other way around. The goalkeeper's now making out that he's gone 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. Gordon came in as well, and the ball it came off him, and it's gone behind off a Bournemouth player. He's claiming for a corner, but the goalkeeper's lying on the ground, getting some attention, as if it's his neck. It wasn't that bad. I genuinely, even in real time, that challenge wasn't that bad. And again, I think this is just more.
If they were getting beat, they'll be straight up.
Yeah, 100%. We did it last season to stay up, missing a striker's movement, says Steve Middlemas, just referring to the formation, etc. But Gary O'Neill looking a bit concerned, looking at what's going on, talking to Billing about the goalkeeper who miraculously now is sitting up and looking fine and doing a few mouth stretches and
Steve, if that goalkeeper shows up for an acting job, turn him down. He's terrible.
Send him back to Neto. Yeah, he's back up now. He's back up. He looks fine. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, I'm fine, ref. Yeah, thanks. He's saying. Yeah, oh, and he's doing that little feint. Oh, my neck. That's it. He's back up now anyway. So 71 and a half minutes on the clock. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 1, and he has an opportunity now to clear his lanes and get the ball back up the pitch. Bournemouth considering another substitution, but has to be said, the last 10 minutes, Newcastle have had a few chances. Certainly, it does feel like there's another goal in this, Darren.
Yeah, I think against you, we'll just need referee. He's given everything to them, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Solanke going down again there.
Is that really, he ran to him, is that really a free kick?
Keith Patterson's just texted. He said, Bournemouth players have been spectacularly drama queens with their play acting. Spineless, shambolic diving. Bunch of hideous people should be embarrassed watching this back.
Oh, it's just every decision they don't seem to like, you touch them, they're going down. You blow them, they're going down. That's what I mean.
Free kick to Bournemouth. Ball played in. Newcastle clear. Win the ball comfortably. Comes to the edge of the box, though, and back to Bournemouth, who... pump it back into the box.
We're gonna get one good chance to win it. I think. If that's the thing. That's what I personally think.
Ball's out of play here. Gordon thought he'd kept it in, but he hadn't. So we're still pending our own half. Well, yeah, it still feels like there could be a goal, George. I've got to be honest. I'm not sure which way. It could go either way this game.
No, but all the positive bits seem to be coming our way. They've had two clear chances that they haven't taken. So we're going to get one more. And it sounds to me like Bournemouth are tiring. You can only run your legs off for so long, and I think they're starting to tire.
Yeah, it could go either way. It really, really could. I've got to be honest, Newcastle are defending in numbers again. First time the Bournemouth player's gone down there and the referee's ignored it, so that's a positive. Gordon reassembling it up again. Gordon gets pushed over. Smith takes him out. It was a little hand, and Smith's been booked for that push on Gordon. Gordon's gone down. Well done, Gordon. Good win with a free kick.
Surprised he's given a free kick, Steve. He hasn't given Newcastle a free kick all game.
This often happens though with referees, they don't give a yellow card for the full first half, and then the second half they start giving them away like confetti. So he's evened it up. Adam Smith's got a free kick now. Atwell doesn't seem to like the paperwork. Newcastle's got a free kick. Kieran Trippier, surprise, has now turned up on the left hand side to take the free kick. Again, about 30 yards out, he's giving the eyes to somebody there as the cameras focus on him. Wait and see what we've got here. So. Free kicks taken. This time, Newcastle do win it, but it's just a looping header straight back into the goalkeeper's hands. Isak tries to charge Neto down. He teases him with a ball and then kicks it out. Is it a free kick to Newcastle?
Offside, I think.
Offside, yeah. Free kick to Newcastle just inside their own half. Fabian Shaw plays the ball at the Botman. Botman looks at his options. He's not going to play it across his line, is he? What's he doing here? He's playing it back to Shaw again. Think we need Richie's magic hat. Any substitutions on the bench that we could bring on, George, do you think? I mean, Murphy, Richie, Lewis Miley.
I was going to say I'd give the young kid 20 minutes.
Where does he play, Lewis Miley? I'm not too sure. What's his national position?
Let me check. It's not somebody I've watched a great deal, to be fair. But I will. I'll double check. He's a midfield player, I think.
I was going to say
he's an attacking
midfield player. Yeah.
Elliot Anderson's on the bench as well.
Yeah. I know Amron's done nothing second half, Steve. I think. Do you know what I mean? I think I've had a very quiet second half. It's possible to take him off.
Newcastle on the push again here. Gordon wins a corner. Byrne just chases it down to make sure that Newcastle get it. It's a corner. Kieran Trippier runs across to the right-hand side. Goals conceded in 76 to 90 minutes. Most this season. Bournemouth. 9 goals.
Let's make it 10. Come on.
Come on.
Trippier then.
Hand
in the air, whatever that means. again, nothing from a corner. But the ball is cleared as far as ESM. ESM picks the ball up, hoofs the ball with his right foot. Botman jumps up, wins the ball. Dan Burn, it's offside. Yeah. Fabian Shaw and the lads jog back. Murphy's got a bit of pace, says political bias. Maybe it's worth bringing him on as Bournemouth get ready to bring on another big lad, as Jack Charlton would say. And Bournemouth making another substitution. Bournemouth fans look happy with this. They'd be happy with a point, I think. How are we so bad at set pieces, PDK? That is a $1 million question, mate. Because Eddie Howe maintains that we do practice them, we do change things. To me, it's the same old, same old. It really is. Kieran Trippier takes everything, and really for me,
he's onside. Botman chalking one.
Needs a bit of variety. Bournemouth chasing down the right-hand side. 77 minutes on the clock. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 1. And, it's cleared by Newcastle. It's a foul again. Longstaff this time going down. Referee hasn't given the foul. Dear God, honestly. It's just poor refereeing again for me, that. Newcastle looking to clear it. Bournemouth a half-hearted appeal for a handball, but Almiron gets the ball away and plays it out to Isak on the right-hand side. Isak not really got any complaints here. Almiron's clutching his chest. Are we going to get a free kick for that? Almiron straight back up.
See, look at that. How, there you won the ball.
It is frustrating, political bias. It's been a frustrating day. And these draws are frustrating. But it's still in the balance, this game. I really do think it's still in the balance. Jacob Murphy is coming on. He's getting stripped as Bournemouth make their next substitution.
Who's your sub, Amron or ESM?
I think it'll be Almiron. I think he'll leave ESM on, and I would leave him on today. I really would. Almiron's got his goal. He does look tired though. As Bournemouth make their substitution, and it's Smith who's just been booked going off. Ryan Fredericks is on for Bournemouth.
I know this is probably a crazy statement, but do you think that because of Howe's selection and he's repeated, he picks the same players over and over again, that we've lost that edge that people would have when they're trying to get in the team for the cup final? We pretty much know what the team's going to be now, unless there's any major injury worries. Howe is going to pick the same side. So where's today I thought we're going to see people busting a gut to make the team for the cup final. Yeah. And it doesn't. It's something obviously George said before that, you in previous matches, you see people going absolute hell for leather to get in because they've got numerous people who could have that place when it comes to the final. Like you said, the 50s team, there was 2 or 3 people for most positions. And I just don't feel like there's anything in this team to say, well, I want to be at Wembley. I want to be playing. ESM, like I'm getting pointed out, is doing well. Hopefully he is trying to make a name for himself. But just, you want to see, are we going in reverse, that they're scared to either, like you say, Steve, get bookings or get injuries or something? Is that coming back to bite us, that they don't want to miss out rather than busting a gut to make themselves look worth having?
Almiron's gone off, and it's slightly concerning that he's holding his wrist. Now, he's holding his head from that foul there by the Bournemouth player, but he's gone off, and he looks rather uncomfortable with his wrist. So, yeah, it's his right wrist, Les says. So let's hope that that's nothing too serious. Although in this day and age, if it is an injury to his wrist, he can play with it. Newcastle going through, though. Murphy, first touch of the ball on the right-hand side, gets to the byline, manages to keep the ball, cuts it back to Isak, who gets a shot away, covered well by the Bournemouth defence, though. It's a ball clipped in now. Again, Newcastle still on the attack. Joe Linton on the edge of the box, nods it across to big Dan Burn. He plays it off the defender, goes out for a throw-in. ESM was lurking, hoping to give him some support. He gets the ball back, takes the throw in quickly, passes it to Botman. Botman across to Fabian Shaw. Newcastle still penned Bournemouth in their own half. Trippier's got the ball on the right-hand side. takes a look, little chip ball forward, lovely reverse pass from Longstaff. Isak wins the ball, and it's a chance for Newcastle, but it's ASM at the back post, not the tallest, and it was cleared by the Bournemouth defence.
Get up, Maxi, man. No wrong with you.
That was a good opportunity for Newcastle. Carved Bournemouth open. ASM's holding his knee and holding the back of his calf. Seemed to be a fairly innocuous challenge and fairly innocuous fall, but let's have a look in the slow motion. He collided with their number 2. To be honest, he had a check at the linesman to see where he was, and then he was fine. And then now he's making out that he's injured. But
I think he's doing a time wasting there, Steve.
He's definitely not severely injured because he had a good look across the line. Definitely had a good look across the line there. Okay, 82 minutes played. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 1. Maxi still holding the back of his leg, holding his knee, holding the back of his leg. Stamped on, says Les. Okay, Joe Willock sitting there. Newcastle focusing on Joe Willock and Paul Dummett and Jamal Lewis all sharing a joke. Eddie Howe looking a little bit more pensive on the sidelines as Newcastle United are hoping to find a breakthrough and get 3 points. Elliot Anderson is going to come on. I've just seen him getting stripped there. Looks like he is coming on. This looks a little bit more serious than I certainly thought it was. ASM is not happy. He's getting up now as ASM gets more instructions on Tyndall's iPad. ASM breathing heavily. He's just getting a replay of this now, and he jumps up.
I think
I didn't see anything really wrong with that, lads. Am I missing something there?
I'm trying to see it. I don't know.
If anything, I thought it was a clash of heads, but it wasn't. I don't know what that was. I really do not know what that was.
When he jumps, his leg does hit the plate, like his knee bounces back, and I don't know if he's just when he's come down, he hasn't.
Well, I can think how he's landed. How he's landing the grass.
He landed badly.
I don't think unless he's landed on his foot really bad and it's giving it an impact.
Yeah. We hope he's all right. I mean, he's really, really looking in a distressed state there and not looking happy at all. I mean, Almiron's, if it's a damage to a bone in his wrist, he'll be okay. We're just getting photographs of ASM now. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We'd only be speculating. Injuries piling up. It does feel like injuries are piling up, to be honest, but they're not. I think we'll be fine as far as that's concerned. I'm just going to block this spammer before they start going mad. Just caught them there in the chat.
Whoa.
So 84 minutes played. Newcastle United 1-1 at Bournemouth as Anderson comes on. ASM goes off. Andrew says there's no wrong with ASM. It will be interesting to see what comes of that. I'm not going to cast any doubt over a player going off. He looked distressed.
I didn't like that. It's the landing. I didn't like it because I touched my knee next after him.
It's very, very. It looks very innocuous, but I think it's the way that he landed. I think you were right.
Yeah, I think it's the way he landed. Darren, he kind of twisted in the end. Came do nothing. Yeah.
Darren, if we only end up with a point here, is that a disaster?
Not really, Steve. Like I said on Monday night, mate, 41 points at stage of the season. I know it's on the draw on the card, but we're still not getting beat. You know what I mean? It's still a draw, and we're not losing. It's if we do get a draw, so that's 41 points we could possibly get after this game. You cannot complain, can you really?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps us, from our perspective, it keeps us in that top 4 position if we can do that. It keeps us a couple of points ahead of Spurs with a game in hand. It keeps us 2 points at the moment behind Manchester United. Obviously, they play, I think, tomorrow, and they'll have a game in hand. We'll have a game in hand, on them. So yeah, look, it keeps us in the running, and it keeps us 10 points behind Arsenal, but it's just keeping that gap between ourselves and the chasing pack, really, and again, it keeps us 6 points clear of the team in 6th place, which is Brighton. So So yeah, it'll be interesting. Dan Burn now having a bit of an altercation with Lerma, who was lying on the ground. Something yellow card getting flashed around there. I'm not sure who that was for. Is it for Botman? Botman and Lerma having a
get up,
yeah, Lerma pushing and Botman's pushed him, and the kid's gone down on his backside, and Botman's been booked for it. But it's on the edge of the box. That's Botman's first yellow card of the season. That's a surprise in itself for me.
For a centre back, yeah.
Bournemouth have launched the free kick into row Z. So absolutely pathetic. All of that. A waste of time. 87 minutes played. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 1. George, would you be disappointed with the point?
A little bit, but the Darrens made the point. We're not losing. That's the important thing. And if we can get to 3 points next week, it'll all look rosy again. So, I'm not desperately disappointed, but a little, because I really was confident that we would win today.
Is that top, George? Is that top you're wearing?
Aye.
Possession still 67% for Newcastle. As Newcastle go through, Anderson on the edge of the box, controls it, plays it out wide to Isak. Isak's got the ball, turns, plays it to Trippier. Trippier whips the ball in the back post. Anthony Gordon's on the back post, but the defence is clear. The defence clear it. Ball's bubbling around in the box. Botman wins a header, and Dan Burn and Gordon gets pushed over, but nothing doing. He gets back up though. He's got the ball. He's chasing forward. Plays the ball wide to Joe Linton wide, and Trippier whips the ball in. It's still active. Newcastle still got an opportunity here. Jacob Murphy on the left-hand side now being backed up by Dan Burn. Anderson plays a cheeky little ball through to Murphy. Murphy tries to cut inside the box, but just fails. And the Bournemouth defence clear it out of play for a Newcastle United throw, which Anderson has the ball. He gives it to Dan Burn. Dan Burn's go mental with the ball boys who keep chucking loads of balls on. He's not very happy. He's from Blythe, and Anthony Gordon has got the ball again. He's linking up really well with Anderson, who's chipped his way into the box. He's gone down. It's a half-hearted fall. It's not a penalty for me. If that's given as a penalty, we're very lucky. People falling left, right, and centre. Botman's gone down on the ground. He's certainly picked up on his English, Botman, from that lip reading that I managed to achieve there. But yeah, Harry, what's your thoughts? Is a point? Are you happy with a point? No, you're not.
These were here for the taking. I think this is
good tackle.
We said it in the chat before. This is the sort of game you've got to take the points from. I think we've got the players to do it. Again, it's another letdown. It's like you say, Steve Howe seems to only have one plan, and he doesn't seem to be able to adapt the team, which again is a concern. They've looked better as they brought some of the young ones on, but still we should be able to turn these over. Isaac has done absolutely nought. I've been waiting desperately for him to get fit, get back into the team, and show what he's capable of, like he was against Liverpool. He's done nought all game. He's very disappointed in him. Gordon has ran around a bit, done a couple of good touches here and there, but just
cleared off the line by Newcastle, and that was Burns' fault.
That would have been even worse.
Monumental
What
issue. Look, you get an automatic check on your watch. You get your automatic check on your watch if that crosses the line. I am not sure if that's what we're looking at. There's 7 minutes added time here. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1. Newcastle, very, very lucky there. It's a throw in. No problems, no VAR. You get an automatic signal on your watch if the ball crosses the line. But that was a bad pass by Dan Burn. Dan Burn made the wreck. He didn't look. He turned into an oncoming player. Basically, Newcastle United have just got out of jail there. And we're just getting a close-up of this. It was Kieran Trippier who was on the line, who managed to clear it off the line. It was never a goal. We're just seeing the ball there. The whole ball has to be over the line, just remember. It was about 2/3 of the ball over the line. But thanks to Kieran Trippier, Newcastle United lived to fight another day and get a point. Dan Burn, though, turned into a player, switched off, and almost cost Newcastle a point. Gordon has cleared it. Anderson is chasing the ball up as Fredericks kicks the ball back to Neto, the goalkeeper.
Go on, Anthony
Newcastle
Gordon.
chasing
Well done.
Anthony Gordon chasing the ball down. He's had a good off. A good 65 minutes. Very impressed with Gordon. I've got to be perfectly honest. Hasn't given up the ghost today. But yeah, Bournemouth will be disappointed. It was Solanke with a back healer, and he beat Pope all ends up. Nick Pope, beaten twice today, but that time was thanks to Kieran Trippier managed to save the day. He's definitely becoming a liability. Burns says political bias. I love the lad as well. Did Burn go to sleep there? Burns had a nightmare today. He's had a bad game. There's no doubt about it. He's been targeted all the way through the game. He hasn't played well at all. Newcastle got a chance here. Gordon on the right-hand side plays it to Joe Linton. Joe Linton chips the ball over the top and safely play for a goal kick. Never troubling the keeper at all. Burns been shocking, says Daniel Kane, this game. Drop him for target. He's not fit, mate. I'm not going to be doing that. Spurs will be rubbing their hands with glee. Well, they'll be happy. I don't think they'll be rubbing their hands with glee after their performance today, political bias.
Exactly.
Getting humped 4-1. They've got problems. They've got big problems at the minute. Gary O'Neill barking instructions to his team as Neto kicks the ball out again. 92.5 minutes played. 7 minutes injury time. Gordon's got the ball again, though. Newcastle not giving this up yet. Dan Burn charging forward into the centre. Gordon's got the ball on the left-hand side. Jinks past one. Tries to jink past another. Plays the ball to Anderson. Anderson plays the ball wide to Trippier. Trippier whips the ball in, and it's hit off a Bournemouth player for a corner. Newcastle, can they get this?
Let's say something different on the set piece. Come on.
Plenty time left. My fingers are down to the skeleton bone, says Rob. Let's have something different on the bloody corners, lads. Come on. We can bring Richie on, says Steve. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
The way that the game's gone with the substitutions and the injuries, I don't think that's going to happen. Stuart Atwell tells Kieran Trippier to hurry up with a corner. Joe Linton smiling as people are bouncing around the box. Still no late runs here. We're just jockeying for position on the edge of the box. Trippier whips the corner in. Doesn't really do a great deal. Gets a second bite of the cherry. Bournemouth's defenders come charging forward, clear the ball. Joe Linton gets the ball, and Newcastle have got the ball on the edge of the D. Jacob Murphy wins the ball back, does really well there. Ball comes to Isak on the left-hand side. He's played it to Shaw, chips the ball in. There's a run and jump from Botman, but fails to capitalise on that. And Bournemouth look.
Oh, no, Joe Linton. Oh, no.
Joe Linton's going to get booked. Yep, that's it. I don't think he'll play next week, lads, against Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's a yellow card for Joe Linton. Something he wanted to avoid.
He knows that too, doesn't he?
That's 9 yellow cards now for Joe Linton. So Joe Linton will not be playing next week. He's very frustrated, very angry, not happy. But that is, I would say, Joe Linton out of the Giver game next week. Eddie Howe barking to the players, switched on, stay switched on. I think probably talking to Joe Linton, who's kicking himself because he knows now that, he could miss the final next week. So he's definitely got that on his mind. 94.5 minutes played. Still 1-1. Can Newcastle find another win here?
Not looking good, like.
It's not. Ball in the centre of midfield. Bournemouth have the ball. They are in possession. They're pushing forward. Anthony Gordon is running back. Makes a last-ditch challenge there. That's a great challenge by Byrne. Hasn't had the best of games, but hasn't let his head get down. And when the Bournemouth player beat him, Byrne was in at the back post to make sure that he knocked the ball out. This is a dangerous position. Bournemouth have got to throw on the edge of our box. Throw in taken. Flicked on by the Bournemouth player. Joe Linton gives the ball away, though. Dangerous. It's fallen to Solanke, who hits the ball into the crowd. Safely behind. 95.5 minutes. A minute and a half left. One would imagine, unless this is a good shift from Pope, that we've probably seen the last opportunity. Philip Billing is given man of the match for Sky, probably picked by Kieran Dyer, who of course we're now a big Bournemouth fan after he referred to him as we earlier on. Gary McBurney, we play better when we've got more games a week. The ball is pumped forward. Is there a last chance here for either team? It's on the halfway line. Solanke clashes with Gordon. Solanke comes out on top. Ball pumped forward. Newcastle United got a chance here. Isak, he's on the edge of the box. He's getting charged down there. And it's Stevens who takes the ball out to play. And it's a goal kick, is it? A goal kick to Bournemouth? Oh, no, we'll get confused there. There's two balls on the pitch again. So it's a throw into us. Dan Burn is going to take the throw in. Yellow card for Bournemouth player for time wasting there, for picking up the wrong ball. So 96 and a half minutes. Dan Burn with a throw in right on the edge of their area. Jack Stevens was given the yellow card for time wasting, if you're interested. Kieran Trippier comes short for the throw in. Burn gets it. No, it's not Kieran Trippier. It's Elliot Anderson.
You should be offside, man.
And he's offside, yeah. Daft. Inexperience there from young Anderson, who's done okay since he came on. The clock hits 97 minutes. You just get a shot of Lewis Miley on the bench sitting next to Martin Dubravka. Guys, young lad. Looks as if the game is going to play out now for a 1-1 draw. As Neto hits the ball out. Newcastle players look disappointed. Gary O'Neill shakes hands with Eddie Howe first, completely misses Tyndall, who looked as if he'd been completely missed out with a handshake there. But yeah, honours even. I did predict a 1-1 draw, Darren, and I don't like to be right in that situation, but it's every bit a frustrating game as I thought it was going to be. And it could be a costly game for Newcastle, depending on what happens with these injuries. Almiron going off, holding his wrist, ASM limping off, and of course Callum Wilson not available today. So
I hope Almiron doesn't want white tape for his wrist, because it'll be down left. It's all on bloody ASM's legs.
Good God, aye. Yeah.
I've got to be honest, that I'll give my opinion first, Darren, before I go to you. Most disappointing player for me wasn't Dan Burn, because Dan Burn didn't have a good game. I think the most disappointing player for me today was Isak. I expected a hell of a lot more from him. I don't think we got that. If I had to give a man of the match today, I would say that ASM was probably our best player. I genuinely felt ASM gave it all alongside Anthony Gordon. I would probably give it to those two, and I would probably say Joe Linton didn't let it down either. If I'm pushed to give a man of the match, I would probably say Gordon as a whole. But ASM pushed him close. I think those three in midfield did well. Poor Joe Linton, blotting his copybook, unfortunately, with that booking it towards the end, which means he probably won't play in the Liverpool game next week. But we'll have to wait and see what Howe decides. But yeah, I'm disappointed, obviously, but it's a point away at a difficult place. Bournemouth on that kind of performance will beat other teams, down there, and keeps us in the top four. We've gained on the teams behind us. We've got to maintain a positive aspect on it, and just hope that we haven't got serious injuries from that, which are going to affect us over the coming weeks. But I'll go Anthony Gordon man of the match from my perspective. What about you, Darren?
I kind of agree with you. Anthony Gordon had a good, well over 60 odd minutes after he played outstanding. Anthony Gordon worked hard, ran his socks off. He's between Isak and Dan Burn the worst two players on the pitch today, unfortunately, because I was expecting a little bit more of Isak and Dan Burn the day. He just had an off day today. Unlike him, and but he can't play great every game. It's not what it's a frustrating day, Steve. I didn't expect to play a little bit better, but I knew it would be hard at Bournemouth, to be fair. But I'll take it. I'll take a 1-1. We didn't get beat. That's the most important thing. We didn't lose, so there's a point, but nothing.
George, what about you?
Disappointed, but as you've already said, didn't get beat. That's the important thing. The other thing for me is that on all the statistics, all the offensive statistics, we're miles ahead. There's only one where we're not, and that's the goals scored. And Isak should have scored. There were a couple of other chances that people sent into Rose Ed. could have been the winning goals, and we just didn't have the nous to take the chances, and that's a recurring theme for me, and it's the recurring theme as to why we're getting so many draws. We're just not finishing the chances we get. I mean, the Isaac chance. Well, I think he had two, didn't he? He had one just near the end again, and he just wasn't there, wasn't sharp enough to take them, and that's quite sad when you consider when he first came, he was scoring for like toffee, but not today. So positive is we didn't lose, but disappointing that we didn't win because we should have won that game.
Can I just say the best thing about a 1-1 draw today is that it's given Eddie Howe the opportunity to do something which I don't really think he would have been able to do had Newcastle gone down there and won comprehensively. He's just done a full walk around of the pitch, and the whole stadium is on its feet, giving him a rapturous round of applause and singing his name. And that must have been emotional for Eddie Howe today, because he won, not one, not two, but three promotions, took Bournemouth from the bottom to the top into the Premier League. And although he left under, harsh circumstances and, circumstances he would never have wished to have left the club in, Bournemouth are now back in the Premier League. And that was nice. So the 1-1 draw gave him the opportunity to do that. Barry, your thoughts on the game today and your man of the match?
I think the 1-1's a fair result considering how we played. I think we struggled again. It's pointed to some real concerns that we've got around certain players missing and not having the strength in depth. It's an awful time for us to suddenly start wobbly in defence, personally, considering how sound we've been up until this point in the last two games. They've looked decidedly shaky in a number of positions, not just Burn. I think Burn had a bad game, but I don't think Botman did anything outstanding. The fact he got booked when there wasn't really any need for it. I think the defence in general struggled. I agree with you, Steve. I think Gordon looked like a live wire. I thought ASM did okay. He had a good game. Hopefully the injury isn't anything to worry about that he misses out on the Liverpool game, because again, it's another opportunity for him to impress before the cup final. I'll give Gordon man of the match. I just, like I say, my concern more than anything else, we got what we deserved today. It's just the confidence in, yes, we haven't gotten beaten, but it was another poor performance after the West Ham game. And I was hoping today we would have picked up going against the Scousers. I don't think it's going to be such an easy match. I think we might really struggle against Liverpool.
Liverpool-Everton, of course, this weekend as well. So, I mean, they come off the Merseyside derby. We'll see what happens to them. Look, plus 22 goal difference to Spurs' plus 7 goal difference. That's worth an extra goal, worth an extra point, sorry. So, I think the biggest blow today, Vince, is the injuries. Willock went off with a hamstring injury. Almiron's gone off with a wrist injury. ASM's gone off with a knee injury, is it, or a calf injury? Some people might say a heart injury. Wilson out, obviously, with a hamstring. We're not sure how bad it is.
Joe Linton getting booked.
Joe Linton getting booked. I mean, it's not been the greatest of days on the South Coast, Vince.
Like I say, we're well ahead where we are. We'll strength again in the summer, but it's for me, we're doing well above, we're doing well we are. It's a point away from home. Bournemouth did do 2-2 with Brighton as well. It's going to be hard for other teams to go down there. They're battling for their lives, and they fought a bit, they fought more than we did. Today normally where closing down dead fast and that, we just didn't seem to have that about with the day. Yes, the injuries coming a bit thick and fast as well. Hopefully they're just little niggles and pass on. Almiron, yeah, you're not allowed to use your hand, so that's fine. You can that'll probably even get it in the cast. We've seen players play that way before. Joe Linton get the yellow card. It's just, do you know what? He's gonna get yellow cards because that's the position he plays now. He's a battling midfielder. And that's what he does. That yellow card, I thought, was a bit harsh. He went in for it. You could see he tried to pull out but he's given a yellow card. Like his
He didn't win the ball, or did he? That's the thing.
But he did. Like this, but that was the player was a bit quicker than him, knocked it past. That it happens. Like his but he still went in for it. Like his yes, it'll be on his mind, but he still had a good game. He still controlled himself. Still won tackles. Like his yes, it's on his mind and all that, but he still had a good game. Like his to me, yes, he played well. Like his showed there. Like his I think he's like link up with Gordon, like you said before, and that as well. But like again, Gordon, man of the match for me. Like says, he just looks lively, and like says, and he's willing to do the chasing back as well. He grafts. Yeah, he had a good game. Like says, it's like says it's another draw. It's a point. It's a point on Tottenham for the like says it's a point on Tottenham. So it's still something like says we like says I wanted to win. Thought we could have done, but it's been just one of them games again. It says Bournemouth, they had a game plan to dive and shut me down, and it worked.
Okay, thanks to everybody in the chat for joining us. Thanks to the moderators who were there. Thanks to Darren, to George, to Barry, and to Vince for taking part. I'm back 3:30 tomorrow with the professionals, with Stu, with Neil, and with George if he's about, chatting about the game and probably giving you an update on the injuries. But I hope you all have a good Saturday night. Go and enjoy the Brits. Go and enjoy the music. George, I can see you're already getting ready for it.
Absolutely. Desperate.
All right, lads.
George, be a popcorn.
I'm going to do karaoke, so I might be on the Brits later. See you later.
Well, keep your ears open. If I get sick of it, I'll start swinging me rattle.
Karma Corner, thank you very much. You went, come on, guys, look on the bright side. Sunderland won. He's paid £2 to say that. Karma. Classic. Gally says, we still have a cushion over Spurs and they had a terrible result today. It's frustrating that we are having this poor spell, but we have plenty of time to turn it back around. We are not losing. How are the lads?
Exactly.
He's got to play against Liverpool. Never mind the final. The team is more important. That's going to be a big discussion this week, Steve. Les says, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow. Great show, lads, says Steve. And thumbs up from Mr. Anderson. So thanks for all your comments. Karma, keep up the good work, son. And look forward to seeing everybody 3:30.
See you, lads. See you. Thanks very much. Thanks very
much.
much.
See you, lads.